Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, you're listening to World Combat Sports. What is good? Hopefully, everybody enjoying their Sunday. I know a lot of you all been checking out football. You know what it is. I had to come back on because somehow my previous video didn't post, and so I just want to not go into detail, but basically revisit my last video in which I was talking about the former WBC champ. And also I want to kind of touch bases on Sergey Kovalev, playing to striking a woman and her dog, and only receiving 3 years probation. You know what I'm saying? But first and foremost, for those supporters out there, World Combat Sports, I truly appreciate you. Shout out to you, salute. Keep on supporting the channel. Let's get right down to it. Obviously people tuned in to the video I did the other day about Deontay Wilder, and I think it's a big deal to just make mention of certain areas which concerns me, and those areas are, we have a lot of people that wasn't truly supporting the champ when he was reigning champ, right? So I was basically on my previous video breaking down how Deontay Wilder is vilified in boxing, but yet John Jones over in mixed martial arts is pretty much glorified. He's glorified when he has been a part of several criminal actions that caused him to get in trouble outside of the cage. He's also tested positive for Pez, and he had a recent incident not too long ago doing COVID-19 shutdown where he was caught out by the same officer who pulled him over previously. And, it was something in there about discharging a weapon. And he had some green stuff on him, allegedly. It potentially may have been marijuana or whatever the case may be. It's neither here nor there. But he's been in a situation where hit and run, where he hit a pregnant driver, fled the scene, came back, got his money or whatever he had, and then fled again. So this is what I want to say about this, right? Now, I'm talking strictly to the individuals who happen to be the same ethnicity as the Bronze Bomber. It's good that we speak up and support the Bronze Bomber in any way, shape, or form, being he is the top of the food chain. He's the top of the boxing hierarchy many times before, right? He reigned for over 5+ years. We know the hymn, right? We've sung the hymn before. He reigned for over 5+ years as champion, man. Successfully defending his title 10 times. So therefore, I'm speaking strictly to the ones who pretended like they supported him. If you pretended that you supported the champ while he was reigning, and you black, and you pretended, and you always wanted to be so critical and talk that shit, never had anything good to say about him when he was knocking motherfuckers out, talking about he only had one right hand and all this other shit. But the fact that you support boxing, right? And within the sport of boxing, motherfuckers get knocked out, right? Sometimes. I'm not saying we supposed to praise and glorify, sit up here and provide him those plaudits every time his name come out, every time we speak on him out here on social media. But it's a lot of y'all that really didn't fuck with the champ. A lot of y'all really didn't fuck with him like that. Every time you crack your lips open, you had something negative to say. And unfortunately for the maturity part of it, we have some grown-ass adults out here that tend to latch on to embryonic, adolescent type narratives just so they can get a reaction out of somebody. You can say all you want about certain individuals that speak and support the champ, that they fanboys and all that, but it don't bother an individual like me, because I know deep down inside you're a bona fide hater. You truly aren't reporting on the sport adequately. You just here to put a title up there when it's good for you. If the champ is fighting somebody like Dominique Brazil, yeah, you pick and choose selectively on how you want to talk about it, on how you want to report on it. But make no mistake about it, the champ don't owe us anything, especially the motherfuckers that was out here still talking that shit about him. He don't owe you nothing. The man started boxing for his family. But yet and still you got motherfuckers up here mad because he fired freaking Mark Breland. Why should you fucking care in the first, second, or third place? Why should you even care if he fired Mark Breland? Now this the layout that I want answered. If you was booing him and you was talking shit online when he was heading into the rematch, or when he fought the first time with Tyson Fury, you know, two of his toughest fights in his career, right? You say Luis Ortiz was easy because he already stepped in there and fought him before and all this other shit, right? But yet Deontay Wilder wanted the immediate rematch when it was supposed to go down, but didn't get it because Tyson Fury wanted to go, you know, fuck off elsewhere. Fight two soft touches and go over the wrestling. We already know the story, right? So therefore, if you wasn't 100% fucking with him and genuinely putting some media out here that basically raises him up, you know, help him, you know, feel that energy as he get prepared to go into battle. If you wasn't that person, then why should you fucking care of who he fire and hire? You shouldn't give a damn whether he sit up here and fire Mark Breland or not. Mark is a good person. I don't have nothing bad to say about Mark. Now, if Deontay Wilder want to say he want to get rid of snakes in his camp, then so be it. You know, he get rid of snakes in his camp. You know what I'm saying? Whoever those snakes may be. I know it's a lot of assumptions that's going to go along with it, being that Mark Breland information was out months ago. But like I said before, this is the first time that an advisor or manager have came out and spoke on it. You know what I'm saying? They just came out and spoke on it and just made reference that, let me make this official, that Mark Breland is no longer part of the team. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So it boils down to this. If you wasn't fucking with the champ or his team, if you weren't fucking with the champ, you're not fucking with his team, right? So why would you even care if he promotes Malik Scott? Why would you even care? Malik was a professional fighter, just like Mark Breland. Of course, they're separated by their accolades and what they was able to achieve as an active fighter. I get it, man. I understand where you're coming from with that. But why be mad as if you know everything that's going in the camp? You don't know everything that's going on internal to the camp. Just because you see Malik Scott being elevated, per se, to a different position on the team. He's an able body, damn near the same height as Deontay Wilder. Who gives a crap if they fought and, you know, people felt, you know, that Malik Scott was knocked out by Deontay Wilder, so he can't teach? It's plenty of people that didn't play football. They teaching. Plenty. It's plenty of people that basically coach a sport that never made it to the elite status. It's all around, man. It's a global thing. You know, that's why people, you know, go to college for certain things. That's why they hold on to these positions. They feel that they want to be a part of a university or something, so they start bird dogging. They start tagging along. They may have never stepped on the field before, but they understand how the sport is supposed to be played, right? So therefore, we can look at it in this perspective that sometimes boxers are better teachers than they are competitors. That's just fact. We don't know how good of a teacher Malik Scott is going to be, you know, in this particular position. But why devalue it? You know what I'm saying? Why cut it down to the point where you're not even giving it any type of energy, positive energy? Why aren't you capable of giving any positive energy when it comes to one person in boxing? Just one person in boxing. It's almost like certain people, it's not all of y'all. I'm not gonna sit up here and put a partial freaking title up here. It's not everybody, and I'm not up here demanding people to support the champ. I'm talking to the people like me. I ain't talking to the UK people who are on the side of Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to the ones that are here in the U.S. footprint who has so much bullshit to say every time his name pop up. Because if I was to get into every time I mention his name and people that are familiar with me, they'll try to include some type of racism into it. They would include making a black and white situation. They'll try to bring up something personal about the champ so they can get a reaction. And it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in that man's household, but I'm just calling for what it is. The man started boxing because of his family, and he's fighting for his family, right? So why should you worry about what the man do in his personal life? If he chose to fire Mark Breland, he thought it for the better interest of firing Mark Breland and elevating or promoting Malik Scott or whoever else he wants to addition to the team, then you should be like, okay, let's see how this works out. What is the pluses and minuses to this individual being in the camp or being in the circle? There's nothing that's absolutely criminal about that shit. Doesn't have anything to do with politics. Boxing is a business first, so therefore sometimes it's beneficial for the boxer themselves to make business moves. So you probably ask yourself, so how is firing Mark Breland a business move? Well, if the camp isn't healthy, if the team isn't healthy and on one accord, then how's the fighter going to be healthy and in good spirits heading into the battlefield, heading there to try to regain his title back? If everything is not good inside the camp, you want him to go in there, a person who hasn't really spoke on how he felt that night. You know, everything that played out in front of us, he just basically came on PBC. He gave an interview. He left a lot to be filled in the cup. He just gave y'all a sip, and which I like. Because once again, I put it to you like this, right? Why fill the cup all the way up when they're gonna hydrate off whatever they choose to and go back out here and say something, twist it and turn it, you know, put their own little spike it however they feel like it, and then bring it out here on social media and want you to sip out of a straw and say, well, that's the way I saw it right there. I know it tastes like shit. I know it tastes like motherfucking vinegar and lemon juice and old chicken grease. That's how I perceived it when I heard it. He should have very well not said anything. Like he said, I commend him for that. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say nothing. Just be confident. Go out here, work hard, and train. But you fuck boys out there, you know who you are. The beta fuck boys that will sit up here and dog a man out. You trying to hold him accountable for something he can't account for. You're not even taking into consideration his family. A lot of you all out there got family. But you sit your bitch ass behind this mic and talk all that shit. And you couldn't even go in there and do nothing. You couldn't even jump rope. You couldn't even do side strata hops. You couldn't even do motherfucking 50 straight push-ups. You couldn't even hit the mitts continuously for at least a good 30 seconds. But you get on here boasting and making demands as if you've been a part of the team since day one when he walked in the gym and JD's, you know, took over. If JD's was able to do what JD's was able to successfully achieve, not being a fighter himself like that, that's an amazing fucking journey, ain't it? Deontay is 35 years old right now. You trying to tell me day one JD's been there all the way up to now? And Deontay only has one loss? Man, you trying to tell me he only has one loss, right? And you gonna sit up here and be critical of JD's? The code was in place. The order was given by the champ himself, because he's the one splitting the ropes. And we already read it. We know what it said. He didn't want a towel being thrown. He wanted to go out on his shield. He wanted to fight. He wanted to give him the warrior spirit. He wanted to take it all the way to the end. He wanted to leave it all in the ring. You hear the saying all the time, leave it all in the ring. So why do we want certain fighters to leave it all in the ring, and then we don't want Deontay Wilder to leave it all in the ring? Yeah, some bad things could have happened due to the circumstances of Tyson Fury. You know, it could have left the champ in a bad place, potentially. Who knows? I don't want to prognosticate in hindsight, even though it's not possible. But I'm just saying, I don't want to sit up here and make what ifs and all this shit in hindsight. But what I do know, Breland threw the towel in, and Wilder went over there and asked him why he do that. He was coherent enough to know the location, identity, and walked up in a straight line, not fumbling all over the place, and ask him why he do that. So many people was talking about, you know, Tyson Fury getting a knockout. The towel stopped the fight. Just to be clear, Tyson Fury won that night. He won in every which way and shape and form he could, by all means necessary. He won. The champ took punishment. It's boxing. That's not the first fight he took punishment. Many would say that's the most they've actually witnessed him take punishment, but it's not the first time he's taken punishment. Seriously, it's not the first time. So I reach out to the ones who believe just because they have a voice out here and they have a platform and they can pretty much go live or record a video anytime they feel like, drop me DMs. Basically only, you know, because I cover several other sports than this, but every time Deontay Wilder name come up, which I don't report on a weekly basis. But when I do speak on the champ, it's at the opportune time. It's at the right time, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I salute the champ, having the opportunity to see him at work in the community, and also had the chance to be in his camp a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? I get to see how his team work. See the camaraderie amongst the team. Shit that some of y'all ain't never seen and you won't see. I'm just keeping it 100. Some of you all will never see that shit. I don't go out here, you know, waving a torch in the air and acting like motherfuckers saying the wrong shit. You can say what you want to say about the champ. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, when you're speaking on an individual that you didn't wholeheartedly support anyway, you have all these fake ass accounts that you want to come on when the subject is just right. You got to go out here being the beta bitch male you are, and you want to damn come in on the fake accounts and damn try to get a reaction out of somebody only because the topic is Deontay Wilder. First of all, you didn't even support the man, so why should you give a fuck if Mark Breland is no longer in the circle? Why do people believe, especially, I'm not going to say people, I say black people, my people. Why do you believe a black man has to stay with the same team for a long time, as if they got to get permission from the general public to make boss moves, to make business orientated advancements in their career, the better good for what they're trying to accomplish, no matter if they're in the beginning, the middle, or the backside of their career? What's wrong with them making those moves? It's called command decisions. It's called command decisions. You have to respect that shit. This shit is called command decisions. If you're incapable or never been in a position to make a command decision, I can understand why you're a bit undeveloped or you lack courage to understand where I'm coming from. Some of you ain't led shit except a trash can to the curve. That's it. You ain't did shit but lead a trash can to the curve. You bum ass nigga. You ain't did a motherfucking thing except talk behind a mic and trying to act like y'all know what's good for another grown ass man who's been in here with 41 knockouts. He's done canvassed. I say again, he has canvassed every fighter that he's been with, that he's danced with in the ring. He has canvassed their ass one time or another. Man, you can't give this man his history. You can't write the motherfucking chapters verbally on here. It's so much negativity to say about his fundamentals, the lack thereof, and how he look, how his legs look, and you know, whatever you want to say about him walking to the ring with an outfit. All right, I get it. But the only thing I'm saying is, do the pluses outweigh the minuses? Does his accomplishments convolute the negative? Does it? Does his accomplishments convolute the negative criticism that he's received on a recession? Over and over again. It's a carousel. And it's only going to get worse once he gets closer and closer to this fight, if they are fighting. It's October already. So if they are able to fight this year, the people are going to get back, into the groove. But one thing about me that people know, I just don't agree with the language, the cliche language, when people choose to say, whoever's supporting Deontay Wilder, especially if they black, they want to, adduce a malicious type of description, and you really can't allow them to get away with it. But that doesn't mean you go over here in a tirade every time you hear somebody do it, because it's just play for them. It's just play. I want to see the champ go in the battle just like I would demand myself to go in the battle. I would never want to be anybody's weakest link if I had to suit up and we had to go on a convoy and go to war. I never want to see that weakest link, just like Deontay Wilder and his team. When they walk out from that tunnel, the people that's around him is security as in a bond. You know what I'm saying? They're in a bond. The champ feels and understands the people that's around him has been an intricate role in getting him to this place, and it's time to go to war. Now, sometimes the wars don't last past the first round, and sometimes wars may end in later rounds. But within the sport of boxing, we see people change trainers that been in the sport for I don't know how long, man. They've been in this motherfucker for a long time. And they've changed trainers, went from one trainer out to a different location, came back to the trainer they left, and went back. It's just all in how they feel in, progressing in the sport. What moves they can make. But you ain't never seen the man out here in the community shaking hands, doing what, champs supposed to do with their fans, showing love, genuine love, bruh. Wilder's never did anything for me to a point where I'm over here got his personal number or anything. But what he has done for me is allowed me, as a retired service member who would never think he would be in the presence of one of the greatest boxers in the heavyweight division of my era, allow me the opportunity to interview the champ on several occasions. You don't hear me at all talking about a video that I have on my YouTube. You don't hear me say hardly anything at all. You don't hear me talk about me being retired. You don't hear me talk about too much of any fucking thing. I don't sit up here and bring my military in to get damn donations and shit. Never. But his video is over 500,000 easy. Yes, it's the most. It's not even a video that, it was the interview. It's the video that I put the clips together from doing media in his camp. And yeah, I commend him for that. I thank the champ for allowing me to experience greatness on more than one occasion. I appreciate the champ for the first time I got an interview with him. I mean, not an interview, a picture with him when he was on the go after knocking out Luis Ortiz. I commend him when he came down here to the ATL to support his fighter, Tay Jones. And, he gave me an interview and talked about, boxing in general and, with Tay Jones once again, who was fighting that night. Not to mention the times I was in Alabama when JD's had Thriller at the Bobby Miller. I was there. Appreciate JD's for the invitation, allowed me access. So yeah, when I sit up here and talk about, Deontay Wilder, I'm speaking of incidents. I'm speaking of situations that I've been a part of that I'm absolutely appreciative about. Joe Camacho, what's good? Blanton, what's good? What's good? What's going on, IB? Salute to you, man. First time I seen you under that icon, though. But salute to you, bruh. Why should anyone be upset if your assessment of the champ, right, is not genuinely to a point where you feel good about yourself supporting him when he steps in there at the end of the year? If you feel a little less confident to say, oh, no, I'm going to go with Tyson Fury. That's one thing I don't do, born a man, is ride the fence, because that fence shit is painful for a man, if you know what I'm talking about. So therefore, I pick the fighter that I'm pick. I don't say I'm going to pick Wilder, but Fury's going to win. No, you pick the motherfucker you want to win. You pick the motherfucker you want to win, shawty. If it's Fury, you pick Fury. If it's Wilder, you pick Wilder. It don't matter what ethnicity you are. You do what the fuck you want to do. But don't sit up here and say you picking Wilder and then, shit ain't going your way in the fight. And all you doing is criticizing the man. The fight hasn't even been finished yet. The fight hasn't finished. Because I'm going to tell you, if you saw Wilder, a lot of you all that was out here that continues to do so, that's basically excoriate him every time you get a moment. When you see him in person, you be the same one. Excuse me, champ, do you mind if I get a photo before you go? He might ask, who are you again? What you with media? Yes, I am, champ. I ain't never seen you. Like, what's your name? What's your media outlet? You tell me your media outlet. What if he be like, oh, I know exactly who you are. Yeah, I know exactly. That's right. You the motherfucker be talking reckless behind the mic. I got you. No, champ. I don't want no trouble. I didn't come here for no trouble. No, you ain't gonna get no trouble. You ain't gonna get no photo either, goddammit. Take your punk ass up the road and knees down that motherfucker. How can you drop me DMs on shit that I've been a part of? I can actually say I've been around there at least about 6 times. So I can speak on some shit that I've seen for myself. I'm not even exacerbating or nothing. I'm just keeping it genuine to the boxing fans that's out there. I'm not trying to be, well, I've seen them enough and this, that, and the other. I mean, a couple of times I was out there, and Ness was from the TBV was out there too. He was, man. But when it comes down to the reality of it, people, we have to totally hold ourselves accountable when we know we're being fake. If you're going to be disingenuous, don't support the champ at all. If your shit is authentic and you truly want to see his resurgence in a successful way to go back in there and defeat Tyson Fury, then hey, who cares if you booed him in the past? He took his L. Now it's time for him to return. Are you going to march with him? Or are you going to be on the side trying to shoot arrows down on us? You can do what the fuck you want to do, but times are ticking. Like I said before, 2 top athletes in 2 different sports. John Jones, multiple criminal offenses against him. Multiple suspensions from the sport. Had to go see the commission and was fined $200,000 to rejoin the sport. Deontay Wilder, absolutely none of that. None of it. The one thing they will make for Deontay Wilder is the fact that he said the bronze bomber want to catch a body, and therefore, when I made light of it, man, I can make light of the bronze bomber saying that shit because people shouldn't take that serious enough as if it's popping positive. You got a negative test. You're a drug cheat. Tyson Fury never defended a single title, and now he's trying to get out of even defending this WBC title. He's hoping and praying everything happens that Deontay Wilder is not facing him across the ring so he can go over there and try to fight Anthony Joshua. So I dropped a link in there in case anybody want to come up here and talk about the talking points that I have going on at the moment. Of course, it's football on. I get it. There's no need for me to be on there because why? The Dirty Birds, they don't lead the coop. Point blank. There's no need for me to get on there and see what's going on with the Dirty Birds. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now I know there are some people that's gonna attempt to click the link and come over here and be a bit rambunctious. But I do have a resolution for that. But anyway, back to the task at hand. What I do understand about him hiring is totally up to his responsibility and taking accountability. You know what I'm saying? What up, Andy?
What's going on with it, World Combat, man? How you feeling today?
I'm good, man. How you feeling? What you up to, bro?
Nothing, chilling out, man. I got dinner on the stove. Just hanging out, watching this finals game. I know you said football was on. My Colts already beat the Bears, so everything good. I'm just watching the finals game right now. LA up. No, Miami's up 61-54. My bad.
So you had a successful day, unlike the Dirty Birds. I don't know why we have a football team.
You talking? What you talking about? Them Eagles?
No, the Falcons.
Oh man. Yeah, the Falcons, man. I don't know what's going on with the Falcons.
I mean, all the tailgating, the freaking barbecue chicken and wings and hot dogs and all that, and just to go into the arena and lose, man, all the time, man. It just don't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Falcons, man. Yeah, you might want to switch over to the Eagles or something, but they not even doing that good.
Yeah, I don't support them, man. This is where I'm from, man. So nah, I don't support the Falcons, man. It don't matter if they was making a run this year or not. I still say no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. What you think
Right.
about the Browns doing the Cowboys like that?
Man, that's another team I don't support. Like I was glad to see the Browns get that win. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like Odell and freaking what's the quarterback name?
Who, Baker Mayfield for the
Yeah,
Browns?
Baker Mayfield. Get themselves on point. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Um, I don't really stick with it this early in the season. To be honest, I'm a bandwagon rider. I haven't really picked my team yet and who I want to rock with. So yeah, I'm just chilling, man.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel you. I feel you. I don't really have a team in the NBA, so it's kind of like that for me in the NBA.
What you been up to, man?
Nothing,
Boxing
man.
wise, what you been up to, man? It's only
I've
gonna
been.
be a matter of time before you start your own channel, huh?
I
Or
mean,
you or you say
I'm gonna
fuck it.
make. No, I'm gonna definitely start my channel. I got all plans on starting a channel. I just want to, you know what I mean? Like it's brothers channels like yours, and you know what I mean. A lot of other channels that I'm just trying to learn from.
I got you.
I want to be successful with my channel. So when I do start a channel, if I do start a channel, I want to make sure everything pan out. I don't just want to be one of those channels that, you know what I mean, here today, gone tomorrow. Like I want to be consistent, like you know what I mean, 78, Champ Side, a lot of those channels, Blue Blood Sports TV. I don't want to be one of those trolls channels that's bad for boxing. I don't care if you just talk about boxing. A lot of these channels that talk about boxing are bad for boxing. I don't want to
Hey,
put myself in one category like, oh, I'm just for pro black boxers. I love all fighters of all races, of all cultures. So I just want to be like a all boxing channel.
yeah, I had to give you props on that. You do keep it, sliced down the middle, man, and you do have thorough responses, to the talking points from when I've heard you speak on boxing, man. So that's why I asked. I think you'll have a damn good boxing channel, man. You know what I'm saying? You'll know how to moderate that shit. You'll be straight.
Yeah, I'm 27 years old, so I haven't watched boxing as long as a lot of my, you know, what I mean, peers. But I definitely know my boxing from what I have seen through the years I've been watching it. So, and I study it. I don't just watch it. I study it.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
A lot of these historic fighters that I haven't had a chance to see in person or on TV when they fought, I have no choice but to go back and watch those fights and study them. So I can only give my opinion.
That's good points, man. What you think about my talking points, man? Do you think the ones who um really didn't support the champ in the beginning should really give a damn about him firing Mark Breland or hiring or elevating Malik Scott in the sport, in his team, to help him out with this bout coming up against Tyson Fury? What's your take on that, man?
Oh, I just asked some people on the panel yesterday, like, what did they feel about that situation and him firing Mark Breland and, you know what I mean, picking up Malik Scott. A lot of people was basically like, you know what I mean, it might be time for a change. And it was other people that felt like Mark Breland made the right decision. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is Deontay Wilder's career. He can move it how he wants to move it. He can make decisions based on his lifestyle and his career how he wants to. And I know that fight three, I got Wilder, like I've said, knocking Fury out. He's knocking him out. He's knocking him out. And I feel like the first fight that 10 count was stretched by at least point 0.8 seconds to a second. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah.
And I've seen knockouts where they didn't even go to the count. You've seen it too, World
Yeah.
Combat.
Yeah.
He should have
Hmm.
been that should have been called off immediately once Tyson Fury got knocked, but they gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, Jack Reese, what he said to me was, bewildering to a point because I just had to ask him. I say, so, I want to know why was he given a count and not counted out? And he said, in the spirit of boxing, he just wanted to give him opportunity. So I said, but mechanically though, he was knocked out. He was non-functional. He said, well, he was. His left leg is up and the sole of his shoe was on the ground flat. He was holding his leg up. So that to me proved that he had enough consciousness left and for me to give him the count. And I was like, man, okay. I was happy he gave me the interview and all that, but I wasn't there to argue with him. So we did, have a little back and forth when the camera was off out of respect. But he was basically saying that Tyson Fury got up at the count of 10, and really it's at the discretion of the referee on what they want to do with the count. Seriously, that's the impression I got. It can be longer than 10 if it's up to them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the way he was talking about shit.
Yeah, because Jack Reese definitely paused on after 6. He paused for like 1 point something seconds, like you about to get up. 7.
Yep.
Hey, that's what did it for me. That's where that delay came in at after that 6 count. And anybody can watch the replay and they'll see it.
What I want, I don't know if you know this or anything, and for anybody else that's listening, you might say that Mark Breland has the knowledge, for what he was able to accomplish and everything. But Mark's a soft-spoken individual, and you have to be very close to understand him as a person. He's a very soft-spoken individual. He's not an intense trainer, none of that. I've seen him in action in the camp, and getting somebody else is going to be more talkative, voiceful, and all that. I think is good. Seriously, not to take nothing away from his knowledge, but as far as energizing his fighter, I think it's cool. I think it's good. I think definitely don't stay with him if you think it's a lack of trust there. You know what I'm saying? If it's a lack of trust, why would you keep that person around?
Yeah, most definitely. And I compared Deontay Wilder, you know what I mean, separating with Mark Breland to Andy Ruiz separating from Manny Robles,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of the fact of what Manny Robles did to get him to the point of upsetting Anthony Joshua the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be something there in the boxer to make a change. And we can't control that. All we have to do is support that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that. Makes perfect sense. I think that had a lot to do with Andy Ruiz's father too, because his father was like, you know, Robles cannot keep him in the gym. You don't have the influence to keep him in the gym, but Manny was like, he's not coming to the gym and working his hardest, man. It's not my fault. He's the fighter. I'm not. There's only so much I'm able to do. I'm limited. So I did what I had to do. I tried to tell him, we're gonna have practice this day, and sometimes he don't show up or he don't stay there for the duration of the training session. That's big.
Yeah, most definitely. That's definitely big. You would be surprised how much training and the time you take to train benefits you in a fight. It can be a week. Somebody that trains a week more than you could be that difference. I've seen it, even when
Correct.
it comes to making weight.
Yeah. True. Definitely with weight. Definitely. And I know this extra week is going to help out Tank Davis big time. So everything is lining up perfect for him to go in there with Santa Cruz. But wish him the best, man. Do what he got to do, man. Just like I wish Deontay Wilder the best and down there in Miami. Training, fine tuning, and look forward to him coming out here and dancing and shining for us again, getting that belt around his waist, man. This has nothing to do with forcing the narrative upon people. But what I want them to understand is that it's okay to support the champ, support your champ. You know what I'm saying here? No matter what ethnicity, black, white, whatever. I just see, a lot of my people just sitting up here still criticizing, and they want to now change over to why it was Mark Breland. I mean, I done heard like what 13, could have been like 12 or 13 individuals. They have a problem with him changing out Mark Breland, and they're not really the ones who are participating or contributing to his fight camp.
Man, out of
Put
out
the,
of all my homies, I'm probably one of the biggest boxing fans slash, you know what I mean, boxing scholars that I'm trying to be. Out of all of them, a lot of them don't really know boxing like that. So I was adamant, Wilder gonna win, Wilder gonna knock him out. So my homies at the bar watching the fight, you know what I mean, and they seen what they saw in fight two. They was tagging me in all type of posts. I told you Tyson Fury was gonna do this, he was gonna do that. I don't know why you a Wilder fan. Da, da, da. I'm not only a Wilder fan, I support what he stands for. I support his story and I support his record. And I said yesterday on the panel, like, man, ain't no heavyweight done what Wilder done with these consecutive knockouts. And like you said, once you said, man, he's knocked out everybody he's fought, knocked down. Everybody he fought touched the canvas. I'm like, man, I gotta get in on this because that's the truth. People don't look at that. Soon as somebody loses, now they want to ride the bandwagon of the fighter that beat this fighter because that fighter was so great.
mm-hmm.
If he was a bum, y'all wouldn't care about that fighter beating or doing what he's knocking him out.
I agree, man.
Y'all was worrying about his downfall this whole time.
And they was able to get it right before Christmas. You got it. You got the downfall. So now you get the the resurgency. You get the revisit. And if you choose to support the champ on the way in, at the end of the year to close out 2020, as much as drama and disaster that we've had this year, it would be great for him just to end it, go back in there and get that belt, man, close out the 2020 year in a boxing community the right way, man. You know what I'm saying? Just have everybody now, want to talk to Deontay Wilder and say, how does it feel to regain that WBC title after everything you have experienced? You know what I'm saying? And then his fans can get a little bit of time to hear him talk, listen to him a little bit. And, they can ask the questions on, if he chooses to talk about them on what happened on February 22nd. Then he may be privy to talk to him if he allot that information out. But in my opinion, if he goes, if I was him and he go back, he returns and win his belt, I wouldn't even talk about that shit for a long time. I'll just talk about where I'm at right now. That's all. I'll talk where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at. I'm happy. I regained my title. Shit, I'm good.
This is just one loss. The greatest heavyweights of all time. Come on, man. They got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses.
Yeah, they have several losses, my brother.
And they
like
still
real
great.
talk.
To this day, their name still gets spoke about. I feel like the problem is Deontay Wilder don't get enough credit. Soon as he took one loss, how can he get this much criticism?
I don't know. Deacon 305 in the building. I was over on the other side, man. Salute to you.
Salute Uncle Deacon, man. I love my brother Uncle Deacon.
Appreciate you, Deacon, for stopping through. You want to jump on the panel, man? You can. I know you always join in when it's a Wilder topic, but it's all up to you. Some people watching football, but yeah, man, I get what you're saying, and that's my point. They really shouldn't give a damn what position Malik Scott is in. Let them maneuver and gain order back in this team. They training right now, so it's not like they're trying to put the pieces together. No, they're making moves, they're making changes, and this is a big ass fight. This fight is huge because Deontay Wilder get his belt back. We may potentially see him get the unification fight with Anthony Joshua somewhere down the road. If Anthony Joshua don't go jump off the bridge,
Yeah, and who's to say that Deontay Wilder wasn't sitting down on his couch in his mansion debating? Like, I really don't want to separate with Mark Breland, but it was something he really had to do. They don't even think about that. They make it seem like he just dropped Mark Breland like off of this loss in his second fight. Like, just because he called that fight off, I'm gonna drop him. You know what I mean? I feel like Deontay Wilder literally made a decision on behalf of his career.
Correct. That is a solid point underscore. He made a point on his career like he should. He's the boxer. Also, he's one of the individuals who I know are aware of the decisions from his team. So if he felt that was healthy, he made a command decision. Why not? Let's do it. And people, like you said, he talked to Mark Breland. I want to believe they talked before the firing. You know what I'm saying? I want to believe that shit popped off the way it did. Seriously. If it didn't, and they just gave him a phone call, say, yeah, man, you know what's been going on over the past months, man. Yeah, it's official today. Shelly Finger put the word out there. You're no longer part of the team. All right, see you, bro. Thanks. I don't think it was done that unprofessionally, man.
Yeah, I don't. Deontay Wilder's not that type of guy. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he. You know what I mean? After they did separate, you know what I mean? Ch- check your bank account, brother. It's a deposit in there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
just to give
Absolutely.
you some. You know what I mean? Just to give you some. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Some reassurance that it's not just about that about business. At the end of the day, I love you still
Yeah, I
as
got
a
you.
brother, as a trainer, and everything, and all the work we put in through these years. Like so it had to be something more to the story when it comes to you know what I mean progressing Deontay Wilder's career and not just you know what I mean a family type of thing. Sometimes you have to separate somebody that's like your family for the better. You know what I mean? Malik Scott has to offer something to Deontay Wilder for him to do that.
Yeah.
And Deontay Wilder understands, and that's why he made that decision. It's his career at the end of the day. All we can do is speculate and give our opinion and how we feel about it. But we still want to see Deontay Wilder be great at the end of the day, and that's all we should care about.
Totally understood, man. Well said. And that's what we all trying to do. We want him to be great, greater. We want him to return, you know, to Allegiant Stadium if that's going to be the next, footprint for war. And then go in there once again with his team, battle formation, healthy, and put on the show. And let the fans see what Deontay Wilder is now compared to what he was on February 22nd. That is all the fuck we want to see. We know you better fighter than that, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna see it. That's it. I don't have no motherfucking optimism about it. None of that shit. I'm clear that Deontay Wilder healthy going in there will give Tyson Fury an early night. I do, man. Seriously.
Nah, for sure. We know Deontay Wilder is a knockout artist, but he also can stay away from a fighter until he gets that knockout. I feel like he got too close to a Tyson Fury to for him to get all them BS punches off,
Yeah.
regardless if he felt like it was his fist or you know what I'm saying. Like his footwork wasn't there. I feel like it was his footwork in that fight. That's
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. I feel like it was Wilder's footwork that caused him to be knocked down like that, and you know what I mean, take those type of punches. Whether he got too close to Fury or whether his feet was just weak, his legs was just weak. That was a different Wilder that I've seen. I've seen him go life and death with Luis Ortiz in the first fight. And Luis Ortiz, to me, is a better, stronger boxer than Tyson Fury.
Yeah, man. Solid
Tyson
point.
Fury
I
can
agree.
box.
I
I'm not
mean,
gonna take that
Luis
from him.
Ortiz has better footwork than 99% of boxers in his division. Period. I've seen Luis, move around the ring, and I'm saying, damn, it takes me back to Larry Holmes, man. You know, I wouldn't say he has better footwork, even close to Muhammad Ali, but Larry Holmes, yeah, I can see that. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure. He don't he and he might not have a better jab than Larry Holmes either, but He's
Nah.
definitely one of those type of fighters. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
definitely got great boxing skill all around for a heavyweight. And he's the one that before Tyson Fury knocked Wilder down, Luis Ortiz was the only person that actually hurt a Deontay Wilder.
Mm-hmm. For
He
41
actually hurt
seconds.
him for real. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You probably was at the fight. I know you'd be at the fights.
Man, I'm telling you, I look at it like this. This is one thing I live by. I know that there are people out there that appreciate the champ, but when I seen and heard how definite it was inside the arena, he was fighting either Ortiz or Dominic Brazil, but Main Stavern. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's people out there that show him love, that love him, but where does the love absolve to when he's fighting somebody like Tyson Fury? What does the love evaporate to? Why isn't it still in the room, strong, like motherfucking CS? Goddamn it, gas. That shit should be strong. Where is it? Cause I know I've heard people cheer him and rock the house and be like, God damn, you know.
Yeah, I definitely understand. Man, listen, a lot of these people that's doing that, like you said, that's all on Fury's side after this, they don't really follow boxing like we follow boxing. They just see Deontay Wilder losing. They don't know the skill set of Tyson Fury, nor do they know the skill set of Deontay Wilder. They just see this person that's knocking everybody out lose to somebody else, and that only matters because Deontay Wilder has this many knockouts. He knocked people out every fight. So of course, a casual boxing fan is going to be happy when they finally lose, especially from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they see is this black king from Alabama losing to the Brit.
They don't have a license over there.
Exactly. He can't even fight over there because he's not licensed. His license got revoked in the UK. His boxing license was revoked by the UK. So he has no choice but to fight on Top Rank and be over here in the US. I respect him for taking a rematch, even if he didn't want the rematch, but take this trilogy.
Correct. This is what we need to happen.
For some reason, Tyson Fury's father was willing to bet some big money. Before this fight happened, I'm like, what's going on? Why is he so adamant about Tyson Fury winning this fight? Like, once I've seen that video, I've seen a couple of videos of his father. I would bet 150,000 pounds. My son, I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, is this something behind this? Like something we don't know? You know? I don't want to throw that in there, but I was like, that raised a red flag for me because I'm like, why is Tyson Fury's father so adamant that his son is about to win this next fight and he's willing to bet 150,000 pounds on it?
Yeah, I heard him say that at the table, man. He was quick to keep on throwing his belt to my let's bet. He told David Haye at the table. David Haye felt that Deontay Wilder was gonna come out on top. And John was like, let's bet money on it. Let's bet money on it. I bet he gets knocked out. He did have that energy about him that was forthcoming. Like he had more than a premonition. Like it might have been already in stone. You know what I'm saying? With all the necessary tools in place. Motherfucking wrenches. Goddamn. Motherfucking special gloves. All that shit, man.
But I didn't want to believe Deontay Wilder would have nothing to do with that either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And after he was so quiet for so long, I was like, man, I need him to say something, speak to the fans. And he did. But I was just like, man, what is going on? Because I've never seen a Deontay Wilder like that. Have you?
Well, I put it like this, IB. Check this out. Just say for instance, we knew each other outside of this shit right here, right? And you've been asking me, say, hey, man, a fight coming up. A fight coming up. And you might be looking out for me and say, hey, I said, my man, I might be able to get you in this fight coming up, man. You know, it's for Fury and Deontay Wilder trilogy. And he said, okay, okay, okay. And then come to find out, you know, I call you. I've been telling you all this time I'm gonna get you motherfucking in and shit like that. And then I'm like, well, I can't get the ticket. I don't even think I'm going. And then you're like, okay, so you ain't gonna go, period. No, I ain't gonna go. And then find out I went. You know what I'm saying? So basically, for me, it's not up to me to come over here on social media and start talking about what you said to me. You know, it's no
Right.
need for me to sit up here and go in on what we talked about, how somebody might feel they got fucked over, or whatever the case may be. I
Yeah,
feel
right.
like Deontay Wilder, in a sense, should stay quiet because the fans was booing him to begin with. So I can see if they was cheering him on and everything, and to the final motherfucking round to where he was stopped, then maybe his his forgiveness would be a bit more, you know, accessible for us in the media. But I don't blame him, man. He's probably feeling some type of way about hearing all those boos and shit and what everybody's been saying about him. I mean, boxers are human too, but these boxers, these humans, they get punched in the fucking head. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He
yeah,
may
most
not want
definitely.
to talk to the people because he feel like, man, that shit was dirty. They dirty. They did me dirty. You know what I'm saying? Much as I do for them motherfuckers, they did me dirty. So I'm gonna keep quiet and then wait till the month of the fight where the press conference come out, and then after that I'm gonna tell them, hey, I'll talk to you about that after the fight, guaranteed. But I'm focused on the fight right now. Okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, he shot straight out of town. Where was it? Africa or wherever it was at.
Yeah,
You know, he was just living his life. You know what I mean? Making videos and stuff like that. He never really was too mad or hung up on the fact that you know what I mean. If you know what I'm saying. So, but he was living his life and stuff like that. But it was more the fans wanting a response from him. You know what I mean? Because you know the media putting out he's blaming it on a suit and all that. That's bullshit. Why would he blame? You know what I mean? Like, all my legs were wore out because my suit was too heavy. It had batteries, all this, and that. Like, we're not worried about that. More people was worried about Tyson Fury cheating, if anything. And I'm not
yeah,
even looking at that. Yeah, I'm not even really looking at that because I've seen a lot of slick stuff going on with those gloves, but I've always said there's no proof. So if an investigation comes out and they do investigate that those gloves were his hands were in the gloves or the gloves were tampered with in any type of way, then I would say something. But I don't know for a fact, so I can't say for a fact.
absolutely. I get where you coming from with that. I mean, we all speculate off the pictures, the frames, you know, the steel frames that we're getting, you know, the untouched photos from the fight. And also, I look at it like this: if you've been following boxing enough, the uniform should not deter from what we're used to seeing. If something's outrageously different and distorted, we should raise a motherfucking eyebrow and say, you know what, that glove don't look fucking right now. What the fuck is up with that? Instead of just shooting it down, man, y'all making up excuses. I'm not making up shit. I just want to make sure that the fight was fair. You know, just like the WBC should, you know, attempted the cover up Antonio Margarita when, you know, he was a bona fide cheat. But I'm just saying, man, like,
Yeah, Margarito's gloves was definitely padded, man. And he got they proved that, you know, but they also proved before that Tyson Fury's thumb wasn't in the glove.
yeah,
On top of him popping dirt, you know what I mean? He went on a 3-year coke binge, you know?
motherfucker gonna try to tell me that him receiving a test, positive test, you know, the Christian Hammer fight, he's still able to box during his appeal. So not only did he box, but he challenged motherfucking Klitschko for the titles. How does that fucking work? That's just so loose ended when it comes to the sport of boxing.
That's the only thing I give Tyson Fury is that Klitschko win. That's it. Then after that Klitschko win, that's when he went on the bench for 3 years.
But he was already pending a positive drug test for pets, man,
And
before
that's
he
what's
even
so
went to that fight.
crazy. That's what's so crazy.
They should have said, "No, you ain't getting the fight, man, till this test come back."
Maybe the UK revoked his license to save face for giving him that fight. You ever thought about that?
As potentially maybe a diamond, man. It might be the tip of the diamond you just mentioned. It might be. But I don't know where they would have to say we need to right that wrong. They seem like they never cared about it to now. I mean, they really didn't get to care about anything until Mr. Carefoot came out and wanted to talk about he never got the money they promised him. It just seemed like this is never would have been a topic of discussion with him relinquishing his license if Mr. Carefoot when it came out.
What heavyweight that's great do you know ever try to make a cover up story or bribe anybody with this type of situation when it comes to covering up a PED situation? I'm talking about the Muhammad Ali's, the Joe Frazier's, you know what I mean? The Michael
Mm-hmm.
Spinks, the George Foremans, you know?
Well, we know George Foreman was eating whole Kodiak bears by himself. You know what I'm saying? He was hunting with his bare hands and then stripping them down, cleaning them and shit, and eating that himself. So, hey, he good. You kill your own food like that, you good with me, man.
And Mike Tyson took all his losses on the chin. But at the end of the day, having Mike Tyson ever popped up for anything like that, he was a natural
Yeah, man.
knockout artist. He lose, he lose.
Unfucking believable. But Mike Tyson, when it was his time to fight, though, I think why they treat him like a god, man, like a boxing god, is the fact that not only the way he performed, but when Mike Tyson was due to step into the ring, man, shit stopped. Like, people made plans to get out of work. People set aside that day to make sure they was in front of the TV to see that fight. Seriously, even though the fights was going 1 rounds and shit like that, people still had to see Mike walk to the ring and go in there and land those shots, just like Deontay Wilder did Dominique Brazil. If you're talking about someone can get that many cheers, that many people rioting, calling your name, and you knocked out Dominique Brazil 2 minutes 17 seconds, shit, and he wasn't even a challenger. Like, he wasn't even an interim champion. He wasn't none of that shit. Unbelievable. Deacon 305 said, sometimes we have to understand the strong words without saying anything. Man, like I say, the real cats I know don't say too much. Seriously. And the ones that do, I just, take whatever they have to say and let it do a flyby. That doesn't mean I'm not listening. I just let it do a flyby. You know what I'm saying? Lewis, what's good? We already discussed how disgusting the way people treat the champ. I think people is right for staying to himself. I agree. I think Deontay Wilder, in his own right, does not have to explain anything to us. And I tell people all the time, man, he's a good person. Seriously, he has a lot to do. He's one of the top tier celebrities for which, if you've seen him in person, he's usually with his fam, he's with his people. And if you really want a picture with him, like on media week, he would take a picture with you, man. He don't have 6 or 7 foot dudes walking around him. You can't even get close to him. That's real. The Tyson fight in the 80s was a global event. As a fact, World Combat. So really, the win against Vladimir Klitschko is illegitimate. And that's what I try to tell some of these dudes who wants to say, well, your timeline is off. My timeline is on because you shouldn't be pinning a drug test and then go be presented a title shot, win, and it goes on your record as a unified champion. I mean, it's just fucked up that they gave him that. They gave him that gift, man. Take that shit away, and Tyson Fury ain't shit.
And I really want to know, was Tyson Fury tested before this Klitschko fight, or they just went with the flow? You know,
We don't know.
everybody's not tested
Because one
before a
thing you know
fight.
over there that IB is that they have that therapeutic exemption, which we know is a full of shit, a basket full of shit, man.
Yes, yes, yeah. I'm glad you said that. But like I said, you being the OG in the game of this, you know all about that. You know, me being my age, 27, all I can do is speculate and wonder, like, you know what I mean? Like, how did he be the, you know what I'm saying? Didn't go from that straight back to a drug addict for 3 years.
Yeah,
Then when he
man.
comes back, all of a sudden he's the biggest name, the champion, this, and that. And he got all these cover ups in the midst of what he's doing. He's doing shit with his gloves. And why is it all this salt thrown in the game if you're really this champion at heavyweight?
You know, IB, what's unacceptable is the fact that when he made his return, this was it. We would like to welcome back Tyson Fury, and I know it's been such a tumultuous time off from boxing, but please sit down here. It's such a pleasure to have you here before. So let's start off and get right down to it. You're returning from an hiatus which was led by and basically influenced by mental illness. Is that true? Oh, it's so glad that we send a message out here about mental illness to the people so they can understand what you've been struggling. You know, it almost took your life there, Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? That's the shit they be saying, dog. I swear to God, they brought this man back from his drug binge, and the PR team say, you know what? We're gonna say it's mental illness. We're gonna get you some sympathy votes, okay? That's what we're gonna do, Tyson. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't take away Tyson Fury for his size. You know what I mean? And moving how he moves. Yeah, that's cool.
He's a fake, man.
He moves better than a lot of heavyweights that got the size on him. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
seen a Tyson Fury as one of those fighters or proved as much as Deontay Wilder proved. Anything you can say about Deontay Wilder is most of his fights weren't credible fighters. Okay, that's cool, but what did he do to them? He knocked their ass out because they deserve to be knocked out, and he knocked them out easily. Don Dominic Brazil, for example, he was a credible name. He knocked them out as soon as possible, and they had like actual beef. They had actual problems. They've seen each other before that. He
What
beat a
about this
Luis
bookmark,
Ortiz
IB?
twice.
Yeah. Knocked the soul out of him, too. Knocked the soul out of him last time. I was at that fight. Deontay was just taking his time. He was behind on every round. He was just taking his time. You know, it was only a matter of time for him to land that right hand. And when he did, and he worked him around, he kind of turned him without touching him, and he distracted him with the left, and then crushed him with the right. It was over. He knew the knockout was coming, but he just waited. Like the fourth, fifth, sixth round came about. I say, dang, he's really being patient this fight. And then you see the backdraft of the sweat come off Luis Ortiz's head. And I was like, damn, it looks like his soul left. You know, like they was making a freaking reboot of Ghost. It just seems like motherfucking Luis Ortiz's soul left his body.
Yeah, I still got that video. I uploaded it and everything.
But I just look at it like, you know, they came back with this mental illness shit. And really, it was a mockery to the people who actually have mental illness. I'm not saying Tyson Fury is perfect because he is a fighter. But if he has mental illness, why is all this scandal coming up? Why is all these accusations coming in? He taking stuff out the gloves. You know, he's doing all this other shit and sparring and in the ring with Wilder. You know, if you got mental illness, where's all that mental discipline? Aren't you getting help? You know, you getting help now, right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. But
Get
it's a sport of boxing too. So I low key don't be surprised with with anything I hear nor see involving, you know what I mean, these type of fights, you know what I mean, the controversy or nothing. I just go with the flow and keep it moving because I can't get my feelings too involved with it because I don't have no control. I'm just a fan at the end of the day. And I like to talk about it and I like to study it.
Correct.
And I also but the most part about it though, World Combat Sports with you and me, we learn from it.
Hmm.
That's what you have to take in. You have to learn from it.
Absolutely right, man. You definitely have to sustain something from it, bro. You have to. You have to learn something from it. Michael Lewis said that's just the Western culture clear bias to elevate any white athlete who are markable, not always necessarily good, despite of their personal failings or lack of character, integrity, skill set. Solid point, man. It is always a wonderful and beautiful storyline when it's a non-black, but when it's come to black folk, the storyline has the always troubling, bad upbringing, criminal minded, still to this day even.
It's an
Hey,
easier storyline for the white fighters. It's easier. It's easier to broadcast. It's easier to break down. But when it comes to the black fighters, we have no choice but to get controversy and you know what I mean. We gotta break this down a little bit harder than we did the storyline of a white fighter.
with us, we have to give first of all, we have to go back in time on who raised us. Did we have parents or parent that raised us? Did we stay with our grandmother, grandfather, whatever the case may be? Did we complete school? A lot of boxers choose not to complete high school or complete their the highest level education, maybe ninth grade. We never know, but that always becomes the topic of discussion. That always become the hallmark when it comes to black fighters. We can't use mental illness because if we use mental illness, they're gonna say, you know what, we're not. He's not he's unfit to compete in the sport of boxing. He's unfit. Why? Because his mental illness. No, that's not even close. You know what I'm saying? Why was Tyson Fury coming back from that long of a mental illness stint and he was cleared to compete in boxing? They didn't give him a probation period. He was cleared to fight.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I've already, you know what I mean, made that statement before when it came to that. I just hope, you know what I mean, as your young nephew, young brother, that you know what I mean. I had a great debate on the channel tonight, and I've made some valid points that touched the hearts of real boxing fans. I'm not speaking for the casuals. I'm speaking for the people that love the sport of boxing. So I hope I came and brought something, you know what I mean, intelligent, you know what I mean, and positive to the channel tonight. And I appreciate you for having me because you know I rock with you, World Combat. You've always gave the real, and that's what I can respect. I would support anybody's boxing channel that speaks the real and respect everybody, not just one category of people, and speak facts at the end of the day. So I just hope I did what I could to, you know what I mean, give my opinion in the right way and support all the real boxing fans. That's it.
Hey, spoken from a young leader in the game, man. I respect that. Real talk, and I appreciate you stopping through World Combat Sports, man. It's always an open invitation, my brother. I don't compete with other channels. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I always looked at you as being an intelligent brother who basically, when you say something, you already know how you're gonna articulate it. You know what I'm saying? You already know how you're gonna deliver it, and it's not some bullshit either. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then, yeah, the debate's gonna get intensified, but one thing you know about me, I don't feel I have to get my energy out of pocket, or out of character, just to break you down. If you teach me something I don't know, I'm saying, goddamn, ain't know that shit. All right, cool. I got it, man. Now I know that shit. But yeah, man. Appreciate you stopping through. Real talk. Salute to you and everybody else that popped in. Deacon 305, Michael Lewis, man, and everybody else that came through, man. You always welcome, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I always respected your channel. You know, I pop through. You see my face in there.
Yeah.
I think something going on with my regular channel on YouTube when it comes to like just being in a chat with my real name. So I had to go in with my fiance's name. But when I go on the StreamYard, I get back on my regular name. But you know, I'm still gonna show support regardless because you know what I mean. It starts with us, and a lot of these fights, and a lot of this controversy, and a lot of these topics start with these type of channels. So we got to keep doing what we're doing and keep it positive. We can't separate in this boxing community. It's a small community,
It
and we
is,
need people
man.
like you, man.
It is small, man. It's good you recognize that because I say it all the time. I'm like, damn, man, boxing's so big, but this boxing community is so minuscule when you look at it. Compare it to the numbers of the populace globally, it's just so freaking small, man. So yeah, unity, if you can, maintain unity with whoever is cool. Learn where you can learn from. That's all I can say. Learn from who you can learn from and where you can learn from. That's the whole objective of mine, you know?
Yeah, nobody on this earth knows everything.
Hell no. There's no number
So
one boxing channel. I don't know why people say that all the time, but this is not a competition. If we all taught one another something, we will all be knowledgeable. We will all feel good about learning more than what we knew yesterday. We would. But ain't nobody trying to teach nobody nothing, man. And if you try to teach somebody something, they don't want to give you credit for you actually learning something for them, but not me, man. I get something different. I get something different being and spent time in the military and shit, and in life the way I was raised. I get something different because I don't get anything from it.
and that's
Just
that's what separates you though, World Combat. You shouldn't want nothing from, you know what I mean, somebody that don't know your experience or know your knowledge in this sport. All you got to do is dish it out and keep dishing it out. That's it. You should never care about nobody's opinion. All you would want to do is give your opinion factually, and the support to come regardless. I'm in your category. I understand you. I feel you. We're not worried about nobody else. All you can do is gain supporters that support you.
correct. True words. Absolutely true words. And it's good that you have a voice where you totally understand what it's meant for. You know what I'm saying? Like not the fact that you just have the freedom of speech, but you actually speaking something with substance that makes sense and it has a level of maturity to it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I commend you for that. Salute to you for that, man.
Salute to you, brother. Man, I'm about to have dinner. I appreciate the channel. I appreciate the topic, the discussion, the facts. I couldn't ask for nothing more, man. You
It's
know,
all
I'll
good.
definitely be back. You know, I'll pop in. I hope your evening is great. And salute to you, World Combat Sports, for sure, man. I appreciate you, OG.
I'm good, man. Hold it down and best and all the best to you, you and your family and everybody, man. Be safe out there, man. Salute to you. Invitations always open, man. You know what it is.
Yes, sir. I'll be back.
All right, I'm out. Michael Lewis. Dig when you're right, you're right. Saying all the way they want to sell black fighters, they had to be bad people, had to be violent in the way that they could be marketed and sold. So let me repeat that. And the way that they want to present and sell black fighters, they have to be bad people, they have to be violent, and that is the only way that they could be marketed and sold. This is another funny thing, Deacon. You know, and that's gold. That's gold. What you said. But I've heard this is something that's legit. I don't like putting facts on the end of shit that's just an opinion. But this, in fact, is not an opinion. But I've heard individuals say, I don't even talk about it, but they'll come up here and say some shit like, this nigga ain't been through shit, man. He was in the military for 20 years. He don't know what the street like, right? And I said, damn, when did it come to a point where we're comparing street to the military? Because you don't know what I was getting into before I jumped into the military at 17. You don't know how close I was to being a part of the system. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these cats just look on the back end like I ain't go through struggle too. It was a hard 20 years trying to get out to that point. But the fact is, I don't suppose to go in for 20 and get out the same way I came in with that mentality. I suppose to have some type of change in there, traveling all around the world. And I should have a common decency to treat people with respect if I did serve in that particular environment. That's just the way it is. I'm not supposed to come out this bitch and be a freaking asshole every day of the week, every time somebody addressed me and put on a show. That's not the way I was cut, man. I wasn't like that before I even joined. But I see motherfuckers comparing jail time, comparing how many times they do they have paper on them, and they serve. It seems like people gravitate to the cats, and I'm not dogging them out. If you basically was in, serve time, you got papers on you. I'm not sitting up here denigrating you by no means. But don't try to dilute what I did and say somebody a square if they have a damn military career and a college education. Don't try to treat me as if you want me to play dumb. I can't do it. But it's disappointing to hear you say that I ain't did shit. This is the real life out here. He ain't been in this real life. I absolutely have. I'm from the South, man. I'm from this ATL. I absolutely have. Just because I don't talk about all that shit. I like extreme shit. Always. Motorcycle racing before I was out of high school. And all that other stuff I refuse to talk about because I just finished having dinner with my mom. And I know my siblings are snitches, and I just don't feel like them getting any type of freaking airtime going back and running to their mama and talking shit. But I get where you coming from there, Deacon. Real talk. I get where you coming from, because they will market us on every bad thing that we do, but amongst ourselves we seem like we're comparing that to see how you respect the next man. They're using all that shit to paint a picture about you. But for us, we should look at it like, okay, so and so did this in his lifetime, and that person did that. Okay, cool, we got it. If it was a fighter as a black, he is aggressive because he's a thug or some street dude. Meanwhile, piece of shit of Fury, McGregor, Covington. Don't forget Sergey Kovalev now, who just pled, guilty to hitting a female, that he was trying to get overly aggressive with. And the dog got it. The dog got it too, y'all. You know what I'm saying? The dog got one to the face too. So I'm saying this once again to compare him to my talking point. If Deontay Wilder would have put hands, being that so-called the hardest hitter puncher in boxing, can you understand what it would have been if he would have hit his girl and then smacked the dog? They would have made that shit look like it was a mass murder attempt. They would have played every Deontay Wilder highlight that you've ever seen on YouTube. They would have started off with Spilka. They would have went to Bermain Stavern. Then they would have went to Gerald Washington, maybe Malik Scott. Then they would have gave you freaking Dominique Brazil 10 or 15 times. Then Luis Ortiz. Then they would have showed you the 12th round of Tyson Fury. Then they would have turned back around and showed you Bermain Stavern laid out on the bottom rope. Then they would have showed a picture of whoever he's supposed to have struck, and they would have showed you a picture of a dog that wasn't his that was laid out on the street, knocked out. But no worries, because if Jack Reese would have been counting him, he would have got up. Never cares about anyone negative opinion towards you, but if it's positive, it can be received. Absolutely, it can be received, man. You know what I'm saying? It can be received. And you know, I just look at it like if people just had the time, like if they had the time to just have a conversation with the champ and speak about some shit when he in person, then they have a different understanding of who he is. But you have some clowns on here that just want to sit up here and talk bad about him just to get a reaction, which you know you're not gonna get from me, man. You know, I'll defend when it's time to defend, and then I'll let it slide when it's time to slide. I mean, that's the smartest thing I can do, because I'm not here to talk about one fighter every day, but I'm here to basically allow people to be awakened that you okay, those of you that didn't support him, guess what? He took the loss. He lost his belt. Now you have a second chance to reevaluate yourself and go in there and support him for the trilogy. Period. That's what we want. If you was the one that was on the fence booing and all that shit, okay, you got what you want. He lost. He got he got a 1 on his record. 1-1. 1 loss, 1 draw. You got it. What's next? Let's get it. Damn. I ain't see you back here, Deacon. Welcome, Deacon 305 in the building. Salute, my brother. How you feel?
Hey, too blessed to be stressed and highly favored. What's good with you, fam?
I'm good. Blessed by the best.
There you go.
That's Paul Williams saying. I ain't gonna lie.
Right.
That's Paul Williams saying right there. Every time I see him, I say, how you doing? Blessed by the best.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I just wanted to jump in for a split second to chime in on what you was talking about, because when I have these discussions, sometimes people can take what I'm saying and they go all over the place, and that's their prerogative. They can do that. But at the same time, I'm trying to convey something, not just to the person I'm talking to, but to a newer generation that may not have experienced what I've experienced. So it's upon me to share the things that I've gone through to try and help protect them, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And what I'm trying to say here is I done had a lot of discussions about discreet life, and all this here, but I didn't want my kids to go through that. So I instilled everything that I could in them that will make them productive young men and women in a society that was going to be tough for them after I'm dead and gone.
Yeah.
But by me preparing them, they would know how to deal. So when I'm talking about my street experience, it is not for the glory of conversation, but for the protection of our people, to help protect them. Because if you take in good information, it could help you go down the road and understand what's ahead of you. Hey man, it may be a loose pit bull on your right hand side. I'm used to that dog coming out, because when I walk down that road, hey, am I choppy?
No, you good, man. I just switched speakers just now. Hello? Can you hear me? Deacon.
Yeah, you can hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is we got to each one teach one.
Yeah.
So, and I said this here because it made me thought about a conversation I had with my dear brother Fred on Barbershop Conversations. And I think he took me wrong. And in the process of him taking me wrong, we got into a little spat, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, because he was talking about street stuff, but he wasn't presented right. And I told him, "Hey man, stop that because you're talking about something you don't know what you're talking about. I can tell by the way you're saying what you're saying that there's no experience there. So you don't want to be misleading people. Just like you've been in the service, right? I can't sit here and try to tell you things about the military if I ain't been there.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So if I listen to World Combat when it comes to those type of experiences, I can get the best information rather than getting it from a guy that's sitting on a street corner and ain't never been nowhere and never touched that type of life.
Understood. Yep.
So for me, if I'm talking to you about these type of things, I don't want to keep regurgitating what I'm saying, but it's for me to tell you the right thing. I was always taught as a child, if you don't have nothing good to say, keep your damn mouth closed.
Yeah. Why you think cats don't want to hear, like you have your story. I haven't heard it yet, but I heard, you have a verbal sparring session with several individuals. You seem like a thorough dude that basically speaking from OG status, like you've been there, you matured over life, with this wisdom that you have, you know what I'm saying? And why wouldn't it be received the way it's supposed to, whole? You know what I'm saying? Not fragmented, whole.
Right. Yeah. See, because at the same time, no matter what the status is, no matter what the age level is, when a person is locked in on their opinion, whether it's wrong or right, if they locked in, they don't want to let go.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I always say to anyone, I can stand to straighten it. If I'm wrong, bruh, straighten me.
Mm-hmm.
I want that. You know what I mean? If it's gonna help me. That's why I just put in the comment. If similar to what I just said, man. If I'm wrong, man, straighten me, please.
You say never care about anyone's negative opinion towards you,
right.
but if it's positive, it can be received.
It can be received. You know what I mean? So you on point. You see what I'm saying? But that's why, we have to be conscious of information. We can't be so locked in till we can't change our mind.
Correct.
Because when you do that, you're doing yourself a disservice and anyone that may be listening to you or in your circle. Because you locked in and you can't be moved, then they're going to be the same way. They're going to be, what I mean by they'll be the same way is they would not be willing to accept any information outside of their own thought or outside of their own circle. Just, you almost say, I think you said it a minute ago. See, information can come to me from you, brother. And if it's lived experience.
Correct.
And the reason why I'm pausing like this, because every time I say something, it's echoing back to me.
Oh,
and it's throwing me off a little. But why is it doing that?
I don't know, man. I just changed.
You know what? Maybe because my screen done went black.
All you have to do is pause your the actual live and just have StreamYard running inside. You can pause listening to the YouTube. If you listen to the YouTube stream, just mute that and then just listen to the StreamYard.
Yeah, I don't see where to do that at.
No, where you at right now? Back door. You can hear me talking, but where you was listening before on the YouTube stream?
Oh, before I went in.
Yeah, just mute that.
So let me come back out and come back in. I'm gonna pause it, then I'm gonna come back in.
Well, you don't have to. You just have to mute the YouTube stream, and you still gonna be good over here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, you behind, on the StreamYard. You in the back. So the volume is up on the back, so I can hear everything you're saying and they can hear it. But on your end, if you listen to the YouTube live at the same time you talking from back here, it's gonna give you like an echo because you're basically hearing yourself out there.
Yeah, and it's throwing me off because every time I speak, it come back.
Yeah, I don't hear an echo on my end at all from you. I just hear you speak and it comes through the speaker and that's it.
Let me just come out and come back in. Let
Okay.
me try to.
All right,
Okay,
cool.
hold on.
Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens in the building. Salute to you. What is good, my people? What is up? Man, you want to come in here and join this conversation there, Reggie? You know, I'm always have an invitation for you, man. To talk that knowledge. Always open ears. Get your opinion on whatever. It's if you have time or not, man. It's all good. I know it's Sunday. A lot of people got a lot of shit to do. I get it. For sure, I get it. What about now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You know what? It's just
What
gonna
about
keep
you,
doing it. Yeah, it's still echoing.
Damn. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. And it's still echoing, but I guess we gotta keep talking. Don't worry about
You
it.
know what? Okay, go ahead and talk, and I'm gonna mute my mic.
All right. Yeah. Not it's solid. I'm not getting no echoes. Yeah.
That's okay. I'm gonna keep my mic muted while you're talking. All right, cool.
Yeah. And I just want, my point is that to get back to the major point, we should not have to be put in a negative light for our fighters to be sold. And we as Black people as a whole have the power to stop that. You know, because we can uplift our people. We can uplift our fighters and you know, don't point towards the negative stuff, and also get to the fighters and say, hey man, don't fall into that. Show your family life. Show some good stuff. Show the good upbringing. You don't have to point to, hey man, this, that, and third, because at the same time you're on a world stage where people can see you. That's why I love when Bill Cosby came and changed the game. See what I'm saying? He brought a Black family life that we all marvel. We all wanted that. Even if we wasn't living that, we wanted that for our own families. That Huxtable life. That Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's life. All these things, man. We can keep that narrative going if we do it as a whole. And here's another thing that's going on that's wrong with us as a people. And think about this. The industry is weaponizing our babies against our own society. How can I say that? They're using babies to what they so-called mumble rap and removing conscious rap. So now they're dumbing down our community and making sure that the babies who are coming up, they don't know nothing but staying out of their own conscious mind. They're in a diluted mindset. They're walking around with choppers. What I mean by that, AR-15s and the like. And it's a style. It is a privilege to kill your own brother. If you don't have a body count, you ain't shit. And I mean literally a body count. If you don't have a number of bodies, then you're not tough. And I'm talking about babies. I don't want to call them cowards. They're just misled babies. And guess what? Most of the new generation OGs, guess what they're doing? They know that their records are so jacked up. And most of them are cowards themselves. What they'll do is they'll put the gun and the dope in the hands of babies and send them out there to have their heads chopped off. Whether it's through the system or another young brother chopping their heads off in retaliation. The OGs, when I came up, we looked up to them for their knowledge, for their hustle game, for the way they dressed, the way they looked, the whole nine. It was beautiful. And when I came up, when a cat went to jail and when he got out, you would thought this man just left college. The celebration, people who was glad to see him come home. We throw barbecues, we gave him money. It was a celebration. But now we're putting each other under the prison. It's almost like it's a style to snitch. It's almost like you ain't shit if you don't snitch. This is a world that I can't get used to. Don't want to get used to it. That's why I thank God for the era that I came up in. I remember the 3-card Marley cat. I remember the cat with the top with the ball. It was so many hustles out here, man. I mean, it was a celebration, man. It really was a celebration. Those days is gone, man. And it's done by design. This was did on purpose. Now, if you rap conscious thoughts and things that will elevate your community, you don't get a record deal. But we have young black people who are in power, who own record labels that could change the game. But they rather not do that because there's somebody that's above them. But man, we got to get a pair of balls here because it ain't about self. You got to help build your own people back up, man, because you have the power to do so. And you're choosing not to. But you want people to look up to you. Who the hell are you? And then when somebody get killed by the hands of the police because you standing up at a rally, we supposed to celebrate you? When you are watching the fall of your people and can do something about it, can change it and choose not to, get the hell out of here. T.I. and the rest of you niggas. I got to get to your blood raw. I got love for them, but how far can I take that love when I'm watching them destroy their own people? How can you say that? I ain't got nothing to do with this. Yes, you do, because your silence is just as dangerous as that white man's bullet. Just as dangerous as that white man legislation. Your silence. Your willingness not to do nothing. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to keep it blood raw with our people. Run it. World Combat, man. I got hot.
Hey, you was cooking? You know what I'm saying? Hey, it happens, man. Especially on a Sunday. You'll be forgiven on Monday. You know what I'm saying? Shit. I mean, that's your take, man. That's your take on what's going on, man. Like, it's a lot down here in the A, man. It's just all the way. It's confusing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, let's go back to, when I grew up and what I see now. When I grew up in the neighborhood I was in, it was strictly, a black black residents all along. We had old school families that was there with like 4 or 5 kids in it. Every household had like 4 or 5 kids. You had candy ladies, a lady you can walk in the house and buy candy and all that shit, right? But it didn't seem like the blacks ever put money back in the neighborhood because every house, let's just say those people that I knew, those older elders that I knew growing up, they died. Um, their kids didn't keep the house in the family. So a realtor came and scooped that up, and you had a white resident move in, another white resident move in. I'm driving home on leave, and I'm asking mom, say, who's so and so walking through the neighborhood with a little dog? Like, oh, you didn't know they moving in, man. They renovating these houses, these old rundown houses. They building them back up. And I'm saying to myself, all these black entertainers in here, man, and I don't see where they actually putting forth funding to build up these subdivisions. I don't see any of it.
Right.
Like they putting houses everywhere down here, but I don't see them doing something, to build up this community. It's just pointless, man.
Yep.
But to get what you were saying, what's crazy to me, Deacon, is that, I've had an individual tell me that didn't know me. He compared to, having paper or being locked up to supersede that of what I did because he felt that I went through much more of a struggle than he did. And I say I can't even ascertain that you would even compare the two because I was never on that level with him. I wasn't trying to sit up here and compare what trouble he got into. But I felt I made a grown man decision at 17 years old, or else become a part of the system with the gang life that was going down here back then in ATL in the South. So I bounced, man. I went through the struggle. My city mentality went in there. They started yelling at me. All I wanted to do is knock them cats out. Because they were screaming, spitting on me, calling me nigga and all that shit. And the first thing, I want to do is swing because I thought this was a military. I thought you're supposed to be more so all about training and raising, us as brothers to be United States Marines. But these motherfuckers in boot camp, these country boys was freaking hitting you in the chest, calling you nigga, trying to get you kicked out of boot camp. All that shit, man. I went boot camp back in the 80s. So it was tough, man. I almost was kicked out of the Marine Corps my first 4 years because I was definitely looking for vengeance. I ain't gonna lie. They had to change me to another platoon, man, because I got into a fight with one of these hats, man. I just, felt that he was trying to bully me, and then he cracked me in the head with a rifle. I had a big ass knot on my head, man. So they moved me to another platoon. So I guess so he wouldn't go to jail, so to speak, abusing the recruit.
Right.
But yeah, man, I don't go around talking about shit about my military, but yet when it comes to cats like yourself that I can understand that you mature in the game, you know what I'm saying? I sit back and listen.
Right.
It's been some conversations, Deacon. I say, Deacon, pull out, man. You don't need to give them that knowledge for free, dog. You don't need to give them that knowledge for free.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They need to goddamn buy you a drink or something so y'all get, you know what I'm saying, so you can get some benefit from it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because all of them not going to respect, man, you trying to run the cup over and give them that wisdom. They're not going to appreciate it, man.
Right.
But I appreciate that you do it.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of young cats out here that's not going to be receptive of your wisdom and put it in a place where they can learn from it. And then if they are in a situation like that, they can go back and reflect upon what you told them. And then hopefully it helps them move forward and making a better decision on what they might have did if they didn't listen to you to begin with. So that's the way I look at it.
Man, you hit it right on the head, man. And it's a sad story that I got to tell right here because it's close to me and it hurt. You know what I mean? My brother, back in 1989, him and my cousin caught 35 years in Virginia. You know what I mean? They did that time and they got out. Round about 2002.
Damn.
Yeah.
So they had to do the whole term. Damn.
No, they did damn near.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But when my brother got out, I was glad to see him. And when he got out, the day of, my daughter passed. So I was going through that.
Blessings, man. Didn't know that.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. And I was telling him how I lived my life because I seen what he was doing when he got out. He went to fastballing and acting like it was back in the 80s. I say, BG, man, listen to me. This ain't the 80s, fam.
Mm-hmm.
I know you remember doing crazy shit like riding with choppers on the seat, got a whole bird on the seat, niggas racing through the streets. This ain't the 80s, bro. You can't do that. You can't do that shit no more. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
You ain't
So
never lied on that.
I told him, look, man, I live my life as I'm 62 years old. Man, I ain't finna get out here and lay down like no old ass man. Nigga, fuck that. Nigga, kiss my ass. Da. I said, okay, listen, bro. All I'm trying to get to you raw. You know what I'm saying? So me and my cousin, what we did was we tried to get some of the pressure off of him. So we took him to it was called the Rolex then.
Mm-hmm.
We took him to the Rolex and to a few other little script clubs or whatever. You know, trying to let him get some of that stuff off him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he heard me, but he didn't hear me. So he was out here balling. I bought him a truck, nice truck. He put rims on it. He's still thinking he in the 80s. The man got a bag of work on the seat, balling, pulling up on niggas, showing a nigga the whole bag. Man, what you this and that? What you want? Guess what? It wasn't even much 24 hours. He got the handcuffs on him.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So I bought. You don't say bought, but I hired one of my attorneys to take the case. He talked to the attorney so bad. He got off the case, but he said, you know what? I'm gonna put one of my junior attorneys on it. So I say I appreciate it, man. Just as long as y'all represent it, man, and take care of him. And they dealt with him. It was a federal case. So he instead of getting him 10, 20 years, the lawyer got him like 2.5 years for the charge. He get out. I tell him the same thing. Bruh, I'm living my life like I'm 62 years old. Man, I don't want to hear that shit. I ain't finna lay down out here. I ain't no old ass man. I say, bro, it's not about being an old ass man. It's not about laying down. It's about slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't slow down, you will get laid down.
Game.
You feel me? So here it is. Just 6 years ago, because they've been locked up now for 6 years. He catch a case. Second-degree murder. It wasn't him. I get the attorney to get on the case. He got found guilty within 45 minutes. The jury never even took time to even study the case. They found him guilty in 45 minutes. You see what I'm saying? They gave him 25 years plus life.
Damn.
Now, when he called me every other day, you know what he say?
I wish I would listen.
I get it now, bro. Man, I'm living my life like I'm 62 years old, bro. I say, but damn, bro, I wanted you to get it out here. Not in there.
Yeah.
Now you get it. No, man, you right, man. I tell these niggas in here about you all the time, bro. Man, you right, man. Man, now these niggas respect me as an OG, man. And I said, but damn, bro, I didn't want you to get it in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because I remember, G, when you used to tell me out here on the street, man, why didn't niggas respect you like that, man? A nigga, I'm more of a killer than you. You know what I'm saying? These niggas better respect me, nigga. I'm the killer. I'm this. I say, BZ, it's not about that. It's about how you carry yourself. I say I don't care if they jitterbugs or old men. I respect them. If you want respect, you gotta give respect. Again, I live my life as though I'm 62 years old. It's not about laying down, it's about slowing down. That's what I want to give to the people, man, because my brother sitting up doing 25 plus life because he did not want to lay down. But now the white folks got him laying down when he should have slowed down. What's up,
Reggie? Down. Hey, what's good? Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, man. Salute to you for stopping through World Combat Sports, man. What it do?
What's up, man? Y'all having a great discussion, man. I'm tuning in.
What's up, man?
What better person to be on here? I mean, I do hear you talk about miscellaneous topics, man, on your platform outside of boxing. You know what I'm saying? So I just my talking point was kind of much, to a point where with Deontay Wilder and everything, a lot of people who's complaining about him firing Mark Breland didn't really support him to begin with. So why should they even care if Malik Scott is promoted, Breland is fired? Why should they even give a damn about it? And Deacon 305 was just, talking about us as people and what the experience was about. Just letting people know, because a lot of these young cats, man, you can talk to them, but they really don't. They're not receptive. A lot of them. Not some of them are, but they think you're just trying to baby them or tell them something. That's not the case, man. It's just knowledge.
Yeah, I think a lot of their translation gets lost by the absence of being developed properly. A lot of them don't get taught shit. A lot of them don't, and they go through development from childhood to adulthood, and nothing has changed in between those times. And also with the outside influence, because you get a lot of negative folks within the neighborhoods, like a lot of the areas we come from. We come from the South Centrals, the Chicagos, and Miami, where we come from.
He echoing real bad.
You echoing. Hold on for a second. You echoing a lot there.
Am I still echoing? Yeah, because when I was listening to it in the store, it was echoing too. Hello? Oh, okay, there. I think that's it. But yeah, I think that's where what it tends to stem from is there's just a lack of development, man. You don't have parents who sit down with the kids, aren't teaching them, aren't guiding them. A lot of these kids aren't these behaviors and instructions are given to these folks, and they go outside into certain neighborhoods with other effed up minded adults who teach nothing but ill shit. Like OG was saying, you deal with a lot of supposed OGs who are cowards, and they rather put guns and weapons in young kids' hands, sending them out there to do work that they refuse to put in. The manipulative type tactics with these kids, and this is the development of a lot of these kids from these neighborhoods that we come from. And I've seen it throughout life. And like how you speak on your brother, I got a brother the same way. When I'm doing my live streams, y'all may hear my phone ring. That's him calling from the penitentiary. And it hurts me as much as I smile. When I think back to us as kids, this shit hurts me. The path of life kind of split. We still polar opposite, and I just don't get it at times when I sit back and try to research it, and I pray for the day he changed. But really, in my mind, I don't think my brother will ever change, man. I think he's so institutionalized. He's so caught up in the game. His mentality, where he left off when he first went in as my brother left in that 20-year-old. And so that's where his mind his mind stops. And when he got his opportunity of getting back out after doing 10 and a half years, he couldn't even stay out for a year. I only think my brother stayed out for a full year before he caught another charge, and he'll be sitting in there for another 20 years. So it just stems, man, and we come from we come from a cool household, but there wasn't a lot of development. A lot of development was lost. We came from a cool household. Our parents who raised us a little bit older, but there was things that weren't being done properly to where you kind of tail off to where we ain't going outside being influenced from the neighborhood that we come from. And that's why you have to be on your kids. Ain't nothing wrong with being a strict ass father, man. Nothing is wrong with a strict parent at all. Nothing is wrong with telling a kid to sit their goddamn asses down. I see a lot of that with a lot of these kids, especially in this time where kids are being stuck at home, supposed to be educated, and a lot of these kids cannot sit still. The behavior, you seeing it front-handed by the lack of proper parenting, the development to where kids don't know how to turn it on, don't know how to turn it off. They just want to be playful kids without rules and without instructions. And it's sad, but it's really a thing within our community that really needs to fix. A lot of these things ain't even a lot of the ills that go in our society ain't always attached to white folks. A lot of it is attached to what we're not doing and shit. And I think that's where the accountability has to be held at times. Man, we got to do a better job with what we do with these kids, man. But that's all I got.
No, that's a fact, Reggie. You hit the nail on the head. That's why I said even on your show a couple of nights ago, when the question came up about jobs, I had to refer to how I brought my kids up and what I had to instill in them to protect them and give them a better way of life.
I mean, it's solid points, man. It's good to hear that. You know, the way Reggie mentioned that you say you had a good household. You know, hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
I can say the same thing. Like, I grew up in a 2-parent household, but to be honest, if both parents are very strict and swinging a leather, it can work out for the worst. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You can have 2 parents in the household that's all about strict discipline, and if you're basically disciplining your kid and not sparing the rod, and you ain't teaching them shit about life, most of the time is according to how they cut, how they've became stronger, and how they've hardened from taking all the abuse. They go out here in life and do something, and that was what tough for me. You know, when I graduated from high school, a lot of things went through my mind. I was already due or set to go into the military, but my pops was fucking with me, and some bad shit almost happened that day because I was just out of it. I was like, my pops took me from high school for no reason. I didn't have a chance to say bye to my friends or none of that. I'm thinking he taking me to a get together, and he takes me home and say, go out there and get on the bus and look for a job. And I'm like, what? You took? Okay. So, I went up there, went to the recruiting station and verified that I was supposed to leave in 2 weeks because I already signed up, and I left. My parents didn't even know I signed up. They just got a recall from the recruiter. But it's just the way my brothers treated me. You know what I'm saying? It was just the nonsense that went on with them. They wasn't willing to make that leap. But for me, with all the gangs and everything and all my peeps that I knew that wanted me to be affiliated and all that shit, I said I had to go because I knew me at the time. I would have been a part of the system easy. Down here in the South, absolutely. I would have been a part of the system. It's a cat that I grew up with, right? I knew him when he was barely out of elementary. He grew up to be one of the head guys in the gang down here and ended up going down for double murder. You probably seen it on the news, but they killed these girls on the train tracks. They wanted to get out the gang. They tortured them, did some everything, and then shot him in the head. Him and the head guy, man, him and his partner, they doing 3 life sentence right now.
That's
It's ATL. It's the old ATL shouty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah, but I'm from the old ATL. This new shit that's popping off down here with all these Skittles, everywhere. I mean, shit has changed, bro. It wasn't like that when I was coming up, but I was going from ATL for like 26 years. I was in the military for 20, and then I stayed out in Cali when I came back down here, it was an eye opener, man. It's just a lot of people from other places that's down here in the ATL. You know what I'm saying? It's not the ATLians that grew up down here. A lot of them people either dead or old or whatever. It's a lot of people that's just done moved down here. But it's different.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
heard-
I was listening to you and Reggie say that y'all had a good household. Well, I had a good household. My mother was married. She was married to the same man to the day she died. But here's the thing about that. He was even though when he was home free, he worked a good job. But every time he went to prison for murder.
Damn.
And so she met my mother met my father, my dad, on the run for murder when she first met him. So
Wow.
and my cousin, my mother's oldest sister's son, shot and killed him. One shot to the head, shot his girlfriend, one shot to the head. So the final time when he got out of prison, he moved over there to West Palm Beach. And he moved in with another woman and had a whole family that he left behind, a wife and 5 kids.
Wow.
Right? That was his life. And I remember when my older brother moved over there with him for a little while over there at what they call Rivera, they call it Rawvera. That's one of the toughest places over there. Right? And he drew a gun on my brother and told him if he didn't go downstairs, because he was living in a condo, if he didn't go downstairs to the swimming pool, because my pops was looking at this white woman out of his binoculars downstairs, and he liked her. He told my brother if he didn't go down there and tell the white woman that he wanted to eat her out, he'll blow his brains out. So my brother was crying and went down there and told the white woman what he said. This type of pop I had. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I love my mother. She was my mother, my father, my best friend, and then still guarded me from day one. She taught me about the way of life and prepared me for a day that she would no longer be on this earth. Like you said, I won't drop it all on one session, but man, I can write a book about my life, family. Truly, I can.
That's deep though. You know, that's a deep backstory we don't hear like that, man. It's you know, we talk about struggle all the time, man, but you hear people that actually went through it, man, is a whole different thing. You know, third parties don't tell it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yo, man, it's crazy. You know, that's why I'm on here. I take an approachment differently. You know, with me, I asked for one son in life. I said, God, give me one son. You know, he gave me one son. And the day I was supposed to pick him up, you know, he died on the same table I grew up eating on. I let him go down and see his grandma. And I'm sitting in there getting my car tuned up, about to drive down 95, pick him up in the A. And I get this guy come up and say, "Hey, you Scotty, right?" I say, "Yeah." He said, "You got a phone call. I think it's a distress call or something like that." So I get up there and, you know, my wife at the time said, "You got to hurry home. So and so dead." So when people say dead, I'm thinking somebody killed.
Right.
You know. So the only thing I'm doing, you talking about lap riders? I always had lap riders in DC, man.
Right.
I goddamn load my shit up. I say, hell no. You know, I run up in that motherfucker, man. I got shit all in my. I say, what's going on? Somebody broke in the house? He say, no, you have to, you know, give your parents time to call you back because they're in Atlanta and I'm up in DC. So I called, man. And my mom, she was too distraught to talk on the phone. You know, she's just too. That was her first grandchild. Right, and then my pops got on here, being type of dude he is. He said, "Your son dead." That's what my pops told me. That was my first son. He said, "Your son dead."
First of all, my condolences, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. So,
Absolutely.
I ain't gonna lie, I cried all the way down 95, 12-hour trip. I cried all the way down there. That's my first son, man. I was looking forward to bringing him back
I
back
know
up
how you feel.
and everything. So I got down there and he was already at the funeral home. So I get there, I say, yeah, I'm so and so the father of you know, can I see him? He said, well, we doing this and this right here. We preparing him. I said, yeah, the funeral was not a couple of days from now, but I just drove 12 hours, man, where my son at. So he said, sir, you can't see him right now. And I ain't gonna lie, I took my pistol out. I said, man, you don't get my son out here, we're gonna have some problems. That's my first and only son right now, bro. I just started losing it. I'm still, my head ain't right. None of that shit, man. They brought my son out there, man, looked like he was sleeping. You know what I'm saying? I was like, God damn, I just lost it. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, they brought him out here and they didn't cover him up to cover the sheet all the way over him. They just kind of left him to the point where I can see his face, and he looked like he was sleeping, just the way I remember him before he went down there, man. It just looked like he was peacefully sleeping, man. And come to find out, they say he died of a heart tumor. But I just got him checked out, so I'm thinking, I went back to the doctor. I said, how come my son died 2 weeks later? I just got him a full checkup. And they saying he passing from a heart tumor. You couldn't detect that? She said, no, if he's breathing fine, we couldn't detect it. So, yeah, man, I asked God for one son initially. That's all I wanted. I said, just give me a son. And then he ended up giving me 2 more. So,
Right.
yeah, man, that was a struggle, bro.
You made me thought about something with my daughter. When I went to, I won't tell the whole story, and we could do that another day. But when I went to the funeral home to visit my daughter, when I looked at her in the casket, she was just as beautiful as she was when she was alive. And then I seen from her hairline, blood began to run from her forehead. I say, hey, man, my baby's still alive. She's alive. I'm getting ready to grab her. They say, no, she's not. Man, I damn near lost my mind.
Damn.
And the guy that did the work on her, come to find out, he was a undercover crackhead. And
Okay.
but that's no excuse for what happened. But when they buried my child, I went to go visit her several weeks later. I went where they buried her at, but she was there.
What?
They had an adult buried on top of my child. I like lost my goddamn mind.
Oh, man, that ain't no option to lose your mind. God damn, I would have been livid.
Yeah. So,
would have been livid,
Chuck,
man.
and you called it right there. I had to start praying to God. I say, if nothing else, save my mind. I'm losing it. Just save my mind. Yeah. So, I was going through it for a couple of years over my child. You know what I mean? But right before she passed, they had her in the All Children's Hospital. Miami's All Children's Hospital. And if you ever seen that movie John Q, that was me and my wife without locking down the hospital.
Damn.
Yeah, they said because of the HMO ran out, they can no longer treat her. So they will be taking her off life support around about 12 o'clock. Bro, I was losing it.
Wow.
And but God, I had a conversation with him that night before she passed. Well, she passed the next day, but all through that night, I was just praying and asking God to give me some answers. I'm a faithful man. All right. And I'm just praying. Matter of fact, doing this prayer, I found out she passed. Right. She hadn't passed. So I'm praying to God. I'm saying, I've always been faithful. You said that you would never forsake me. God said to me, I did not forsake you. I said, well, I need some answers. My baby, I done lost my child. She's dead and gone. Man, I'm crying. I ain't getting no more answers from it. I say, I need an answer. Then once again, a voice came. I need you to get it all out. Then come back to me. So I cried some more, and I asked God, give me some answers. You told me that you would never forsake me. Didn't get no answer. See, God, when you're dealing with God, you have to be sincere. If you're not sincere, you won't get nothing. So I had to sincerely get it all out of me. And once I got it all out, I went back to God. He said, I did not forsake you. I said, God, she ain't here. My baby gone. He said, listen, you did not lose a child. You have gained a child in me. I knew her before you knew her. I love her more than you love her. She's all right. I need you to be all right. I need you to take care of those who I left you with. She's fine. She knows not sin. I just lent her to you for a little while. That saved my life.
Was this your first daughter?
My last child.
Wow.
Yep.
That's deep.
Beautiful.
That's super deep, man.
She would have been 17 years old.
I mean, I often think of my son, man. You know, I see him all the time in dreams and stuff like that. But I was like, he would have been the oldest out of my three. So, you know, I had to kind of fight that battle when he passed by myself, because, you know, my pops, first of all, didn't want a bastard child. He told me he didn't want my bastard child because me and my girl weren't married, and I wasn't planning on getting married at the time. He said he didn't want a bastard child coming to his house, but Mom wanted, you know, me to bring the grandchild down. So what I initially thought is that, you know, he harmed our child. And I was talking to my mom on the way there. I said, nobody spanked him, did he? Dad didn't spank him. Anybody didn't do anything to him, did it? Because it's going to be a situation. It's going to be a bad situation. And she said, no, this, that. I said, seriously, be honest with me. Like, I'm trying to get in contact with somebody who know police, whatever. You know, what's the deal? What did y'all find out when y'all came over to the house? Y'all couldn't resuscitate him. What was wrong with him? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they talking about he was blue and everything, and they had him on the kitchen table, the same one I grew up eating off of, and they couldn't revive him. So I just had to take it for what it's worth, man, because, you know, at that time, brother didn't have life insurance. You know, I was in the military, thank God, but I ain't have life insurance on him. You know, we don't think about that. So I went over there and had to get some funding for funeral arrangements and all that. I learned all that stuff on the fly, man. I was what, 19 going on 20 when I had my first son. So it was a learning experience. My parents didn't teach me nothing about raising a kid or anything. And for me to have a kid, I felt it was my responsibility to learn on my own anyway.
That's right.
As a man, you know, you get a baby, it's up to you to learn that shit. So yeah, man, it was tough, bro, for real.
Yeah. You ain't going to sleep over there, Jerry?
No, man, that's some cold stuff to hear, man. I always worry about that, man. Everything, even to this day, man, my kids are 6, and I think I'll probably do that into adulthood. I always wake up and check on my kids. I don't care. I can be into deep sleep. Just naturally, I'll wake up out of my sleep, go in there and check on them. A lot of times I'll sleep in my room and I'll just hop on the couch in my room just so that they nearby because I know I'm going to wake up. So therefore I can just hop up, look, always make sure I see the chest rise and to make sure they're breathing, man. I always worry about losing my kids. Right into their ass anytime I see them do something that I view as being dangerous, light into them. But right after that, I bring the reason behind me going off on them. And my thing is, I don't want to have to bury none of my kids. And I also pray for my kids when I'm not here. I don't live forever. And my job is to keep y'all safe, prepare you, learn everything I can because you never know when I'm not going to be here. I don't want one of my kids lost in the world, but I sure enough don't want to bury them.
True.
That's right.
Yeah, you never want to bury him at all. You know what I'm saying? So
I wouldn't wish that on my enemy, man.
yeah,
Real talk.
Yeah.
That's some of the most painful. I can't even describe the pain. That's why I said I wouldn't wish that on nobody. I wouldn't give a damn if it's a sworn enemy. What I mean by that is, especially dealing with us as black people, man, I don't wish that on none of my people, bro. I don't. Because the kind of pain I went through was some suicidal type of damn pain. That was painful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, deep.
I think, yeah.
Kids losing kids, man. You know, I've been trying to, relocate my child back down here. He's not buried down here. He's buried in another state where his mother is at. So, I'm still trying to work on that portion of it. But the one thing I didn't mention, on his day of the funeral, it was raining so bad up there that the plot that he was going down in, it was full of muddy water.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt even worse, man. I say, damn, he's gonna be in that muddy ass. I told the guy, I says, so do we have to bury him today? They had like they was trying to rush and get him under because it was raining so bad. I say, but look at all that water up under there, though.
Yeah.
I mean, how y'all gonna put? I mean, I know it's gonna go somewhere, but I mean, it was all bad, man. Yep.
To be honest with you, world, ever since I went to, and that was years ago, and everything my mother taught me came back to help me in my life. Man, I went to that graveyard that one time when I found out about the situation I told you about. That was the last time I went because my mother always taught me, give me my flowers while I am alive. Because when I'm dead and gone, I don't know nothing about it. Ain't nobody out to the damn graveyard, nothing but a body.
True.
The person is no longer there. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord.
Correct.
Ain't nobody out there.
And that's why I tell these kids, man, you love me when I'm living. Don't sit up here and don't love me while I'm living and want to love what you want to get when I'm dying.
Right. Yeah, man.
Because you won't be surprised. Believe me, you won't be surprised.
The hell come out of people, boy. Yes,
Yo,
sir.
man.
Sir.
I was speaking about trying to change it up. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Rob stopping through. TJ, what's good? I was talking how Wilder start boxing for his family, but it just seems like every time his name come up, people don't even talk about it. You know what I'm saying? They just talk about how many kids he got and everything. And to be honest, I've never seen a fighter that's the way they spit venom towards an individual that haven't popped dirty or any of that shit, man.
Right.
And I just want to hear y'all take on that. Like, why do you think he's vilified so much? But the other day I was given a comparison, right? A juxtaposed comparable to John Jones of the UFC, who's basically had several criminal incidents, right? But they love the man. He's black. Different community of fight fans over there in mixed martial arts. but he's black. It's damn near
Okay.
the same structure as Deontay Wilder,
But where
and
is
they
he
love
from?
him.
Where's he from?
Oh, well, of course he ain't from Alabama. He probably from I'm not sure where he from. Let me
I'm
look him
trying
up.
to see if he's from the United States or not.
He a brother. Yeah, he from the United States. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's not over there in the UK. He from over here. His
Okay.
brothers play. Both his brothers play NFL football.
Okay, yeah, my son was telling me that. Okay, yeah.
John Jones. You know, both his brothers are NFL football players.
Yeah.
You
Super
know,
Bowl champs.
Super Bowl champs.
I
Absolutely.
wouldn't know that if my son wouldn't have told me that. I think I know what you're talking about now.
And I'm saying to myself, like they two of the same people, but you know, he's had several incidents. Regardless, his brother's NFL players had several bad incidents where, you know, the hit and run when he hit a pregnant woman and left the scene, then came back, got his money and weed, and then left the scene again. Pop positive for peds twice. You know, he's been stripped of the title several times. And they still love this man and call him the GOAT every time he walked to the cage. But with Deontay Wilder, he has none of the criminal backstory, but yet they vilify the shit out of him, man. So why do y'all think that is, man?
I have to go behind Reggie on that one.
Because of his representation with Black America, the plight of Black Americans. John Jones doesn't really touch on too much of that. And John Jones has an easier calmness to him, where he doesn't really brush over that. He's well-spoken, soft-spoken killer, but his association and comfort that he brings amongst our society would seem to be very fragile.
Hey, can you fix that echo so we can hear you clearly, Reggie?
No, I think that y'all got to go on mute. That's why.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah, it was I think just based on how he's received within white society. John Jones doesn't come off threatening. He doesn't really touch on the kind of you know, the social situations out here, and plus he comes from where he has kids that are mixed race. His wife is white, so he really doesn't touch on too much of this, and he doesn't come off as imposing when it comes to his thoughts on white racism and stuff, unlike Deontay Wilder, who's taken a very vocal stance against that. Everything about him is about displaying the pride in his blackness. And that right there becomes frightening to a lot of white folks. It also becomes threatening and envious to a lot of black folks, because it ain't just white folks who hate the guy. It's also black folks who take upon this stand, and even some righteous black folks who take upon the stand and want to interfere. And it's just a sad situation, man. It's a bugged out situation, but that's kind of the thing when it comes to this nation that we live in. America is just a kind of a screwy ass damn place. But I think that's basically where it comes from. It just comes from what is the vocal stance, the stance that is seen and projected around the world. Anytime you stand up for blackness, there becomes issue. If you stay quiet, remain quiet, even if you were to be a conscious black man, as long as they don't hear it, because when they hear it, it fears them. Blackness to speak pride of being black, man, puts a huge level of fear in some white folks' heart. They heartbeat changes from 60 beats a minute to 200 when they hear blackness, and that's even where people decided to kind of shift away from represent themselves with black pride and all that. At one point, black pride was a thing of a lot of this pride of being proud to be black, not being offended by being black, and to make other folks feel unthreatened by this, kind of theme that's being put out by us. They want to switch us into this African American stuff, this two nation type shit, almost some immigrant labeling and shit. But it's just something to make them feel comfortable. And now with Wilder coming out with this being stated, him showing great power, knocking folks out, they have an issue with this. And I think it's just the difference with John Jones. John Jones isn't fully respected, though. They still see him as a black guy, and they don't want to respect that. I mean, he still deals with what he deals with, because John Jones should be a well respected guy, should be a better marketed guy. If he was a white champion doing what he does, Dana White have found a way to put the marketing machine behind that guy. He's a very exciting person, but so he deals with it as well. It's just not to the point because he hasn't spoken out about the racial social issues in America, and that kind of leaves him with a clean state amongst particular sects of society. And once again, it ain't just the racist white folks. There's some black folks who get on that clown shit too. The thing with the Mark Breland thing, I ain't like that firing shit at all. I don't respect that happening, but it's his choice. But it's no reason to speak ill of the guy. Even before that, people spoke ill. But it's the two-sidedness. But anytime you come out and you speak like a proud black man, that's where that dissent comes from in this society. But that's all I got.
I mean, I respect what you're saying. I just want to ask, like, you say you didn't like Mark Breland without knowing the internal details about the camp itself and the circle.
Yeah.
Are we assuming that Mark Breland knew what the order was going into that fight? And then, to addition that, to caveat off that, you believe it was something else that he may have did that was considered invidious, that, the champ is saying that, okay, I got to get rid of the snakes in the camp. Do you believe there was another perspective of malice, that forced or influenced Deontay Wilder to say, you know what, we got to get rid of Mark? Outside of him throwing the towel in, he did this and this.
I think when things go bad, people look for fingers to point at. They look for things to kind of use as the reasoning behind something going down. Now, is there concrete evidence that he did something like that? I just don't see Mark Breland coming off like that. And
every time I've been over there, Reggie, to be honest, bruh, every time I've seen him, like even at the MGM Grand, Mark Breland is one of the low-key type of dudes you would ever meet, dog. Like, dude has on a gray sweatshirt all the time, jeans, and he's chilling, man. That doesn't mean it's plenty quiet scoundrels out here. But I'm just saying, with him, I just couldn't place him in a situation where he would do something wrong or conspire to do something wrong against Deontay Wilder. Him being a boxer with all the accolades and credentials that he has. He seemed like the nicest dude, man. That's real talk.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I feel like that. And I think to fire him makes it paints the picture like he's the snake in the camp. And that's kind of a bad thing to put on a legendary guy like that. And I didn't like that. It just wasn't a cool move. Now, could it be that Mark Breland? I think Mark Breland has some kind of issues with the slowing and reflexes and things like that. Maybe that should have been stated rather than leaving it out there. And I see Mark Breland came out today thanking people because it leads more to that. Damn, they just X'd this dude from the team and did him dirty for him to have to recognize those who are in support of him. He's speaking about this next chapter. I just don't think that was a cool move to do it like this when things go bad. This guy's been around your career through all the success. Can't say ups and downs, but throughout all the success going into the career of Wilder. But it's always those things when things go negative is when things begin to fall apart. Usually you find out you got phony friends around you who don't come around after suffering the loss, but then to point it to a coach. Mark Breland's decision, regardless of what Wilder said he wanted about don't throw in the towel, he wants to die in the ring, was as dumb as shit. And I'm a Wilder fan, but I'll keep it real. That's some dumb shit. And it's not up to a fighter to determine when or to determine how he wants to go out in the fight. These dudes can be held liable if they were to allow Wilder to sit in that ring and get his brains bashed out, being that the story would come out that, oh man, Wilder wanted to die like this. So therefore, these dudes would be tied in some neglect type shit. But being that Breland cared for Wilder, he stopped the fight, which was the thing that allows Wilder to go back into this fight. His mind is still intact, because if that fight prolonged any longer than that, went about 4 more rounds, Wilder could have been in a vegetative state. He's in there against a 300-pound dude with a free target to pound on, and Diaz in him to sit back there like yes man and allow it. That is not the fucking way that this thing's supposed to go out. A soldier's supposed to hit the battlefield, but there's other people who instruct the soldier. There's other people who observe the war, knowing when to retreat, what other moves to make. And that's the thing that Breland did. He responded like a true general at that fight. The other dudes sat there like yes man because they're afraid of him. And that's the other thing going into the aspects of Wilder's training. He got coaches who are they're too nice. They're way too nice. Wilder needs a trainer that's gonna get in his ass. You can't tell them what you want to do. And that's the other thing that I fought. But I'm a Wilder fan. I hopefully he brings in, if it's Malik Scott, hopefully Malik Scott is going to be somebody who can get in Wilder's ass. Or is he afraid of Wilder, being they've been in the ring together and Wilder then got the guy up out of there? Now, how does that situation work? So I don't know. I don't like none of that shit. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think with Deontay Wilder has a lot to do with trust. It, in my opinion, it has a lot to do with trust because he has a lot of day one cats around him, like Malik Scott, and like you said, Mark Breland been around him through all the times of winning. The only positive aspect I can take from it, Reggie, is that, like you said, this is coming on outside of him losing his title. And not just him losing his title, but the actions that Mark Breland was responsible for, throwing the towel in. I also have to put the accountability on Kenny Bayless too. We can talk about soldiers all day long and everything else, and the team is supposed to look out for him, but Kenny Bayless is supposed to look out for the fighters too. He's the third man in the ring. He's supposed to have oversight on that. And, we're not sure when he would have stopped that fight or what he was actually looking at. I don't know. But I just look at combat sports just a little bit different. I just felt that if Wilder was still on his feet, I've seen boxers in worse condition. I totally respect where you coming from with this. I do. But I'm saying to myself, like, damn, could he have basically, improved a little bit as the rounds went along? Or would Kenny Bayless would have stepped in and stopped the fight?
Can I get some of this?
And did his due diligence. He and told Deontay, hey, I thought you was taking a beating. I stopped the fight, Deontay. I don't think it was solely on his team to sit up here and see this man bleeding from the ear, fat lip, taking punishment. And then all of a sudden, Mark Breland's asking JD's, do you want me to throw the towel? JD say no. Of course, JD's is going to say no. And then Mark Breland took it upon himself, command decision, boom, throw the towel in there, and the rest is history. Yeah, go ahead, Diggy.
Yeah. I had this conversation on our dear brother H Money's channel the other night. And I feel like this. Deontay Wilder is a great champion. We all love him, want the best for him. But I believe that the right call was made. Why do I say that? I say that because looking at the fight after the fact, not while the fight was going on, but after the fact, knowing what we know, had this fight continued, Deontay Wilder, the side of his skull is being cracked from some blunt object other than a fist, supposedly. Whatever it was, there's no denial to the damage of this young man's skull. Had the fight continued, Tyson Fury is coming in at a higher weight than he did in the first fight. He's leaning on him. He's tying him up. He's hitting him all behind the head. His skull is cracked. And a young man is arguing with me on Ace Money's channel. Good dude. Good guy. And I respect his opinion. But he's arguing with me that the fight should have continued. Deontay Wilder should have been afforded the opportunity to continue as a champion in the fight because he has a puncher's chance. I say that's all fine and dandy. But I asked him this: if I was to come visit you and bring you back here to Florida with me, you have a wife and children. I got you out here in Florida. Your family is at home, worried and concerned, hoping that you make it back home safely. Now you are in my care, the coach, your team. It is up to me, your coach, your team, to get you back home safely to your family. The way we walked in, let's get this man back home safely. Although he's a little damaged, but get him back home safely. Had not the fight been stopped, more damage could have ensued. His career could have been ended in that fight, possibly, if more damage would have happened in the fight. So that being said, I believe the right call was made. Now I want to say something else. Mark Breland being not fired, but let go. I don't want to say fired, because I believe that Deontay Wilder's a good man. I believe that Breland is a good man. So I don't think that Deontay Wilder would have stepped to him and said, hey man, you fired. I believe that it was handled probably in a more humane way. I don't know from behind the scenes if Breland is dealing with health issues. I remember seeing him on a video about a year or so ago. All his hair was black. The next time I seen him, his hair was snow white. He's aging. He could be having health problems. His reflexes, like my dear brother Red said, may not be there like it once was. We don't know behind the scenes what caused that. But I said to myself, I seen something in one of Deontay Wilder's interviews. I saw for a fact that even Deontay Wilder didn't pick up on it. So I didn't want to get on camera on somebody's show and mention what I seen without hard evidence. But me being in this world as long as I've been in this world and seeing certain things, I seen something in one of his in his entourages that was not cool to me. I'm not gonna name drop, but I seen a father and a son who's around Deontay Wilder. I'm to my 150% jealous of this man. Now you got people like this in your camp. I stop right there.
Damn, you just pulled the kickstand down, man, while you was turning the corner. He threw the kickstand down, man. All us over there in the woods there, man. Damn.
I can tell you the video. I'll probably find the video and send it to you, and you'll say, man, you right about that shit. I seen it outright. Yeah.
Well, I respect both of y'all opinions, real talk. You know, I do. I mean, I've seen combat sports all over. I mean, from the gutters of Thailand, and you know, I actually, you know, had the opportunity to see this in South Korea. Their individuals train body hardening all the way to, you know, their security forces, you know, getting warmed up for the day. They don't have no pads on or anything. They're warming up with shin to shin, elbow to elbow, body hardening, all that shit. You know, been to several schools over in Japan. I guess really my mindset is a bit too filled with, you know, what I've seen and it's coming from kids on up to adults. It's, you know, being in the Philippines, seeing the Philippine boxers and seeing the Thai fighters, you know, them kids at a young age, man, going through the training regime that they did and how they was showing no motherfucking tears, Some of them though, but not all of them. I mean, they shins was just like fucked up, but these kids was tough as hell. And I even see growing up, I even seen some of them competing over there because I did like 7 years overseas, not straight, but broken time. And every time I went back over there, man, I was trying to stay embedded on the grappling scene and intermingle with their mixed martial arts. It's over there, and plus we did it in the military too. But I see where you coming from. I guess my mentality is different, man, in a deeper way. Not that I don't care. It's just I'm kind of going off what I seen in combat and what I seen over here, which is not to dilute anything y'all have going on. Really has nothing to do with what y'all said. I respect what y'all said. It's just some of that stuff I look at, and I'm not numb to it, but I just look at it like I see Deontay Wilder as this he's a warrior. The way I look at him, like I just seen like him taking the amount of punishment he was able to take. And I understand, from a perspective of being a soldier, when I went outside the wire and we went on a convoy, it wasn't no freaking nothing. It wasn't no option. It was nothing. You got the six of everybody that's riding with you. Shit pop off. It ain't no question. You got to get it. And I just seen him in there battling, man, and for what he started the sport for, his family. I just seen like I just see him as a tougher individual. You know what I'm saying? I see him with that warrior spirit, that heart. And I know, I look at Adonis Stevenson. I do. I look at these fighters like Terry Norris. I also look at the style for which they chose to fight. I don't think Deontay Wilder has taken an extensive amount of damage in his career like that, even as a heavyweight. But
Can I say something to you?
I did hear one of his teammates tell me though that he was glad they stopped the fight. And when he told me that, that's when it kind of touched home for me on why he did it. See, I'm not talking about in hindsight looking back on it from what's been going on with the scandal and everything else. I was talking about at that moment when I was watching him in there fighting for his survival. I thought it could go on. But in hindsight, listen to, Tay Jones talk to me about it and stuff like that. He said somewhat similar to what y'all said. He said it could have been something that was severe enough to affect him medically and potentially not allow him to compete in the sport anymore. I truly understand that, but I was just speaking him being in the ring though. Go ahead, Deacon.
Yeah. What I understand where you're coming from as well. But what I'm saying is, to your point, that he got in this to take care of his family. And I understand, fighters, they rather be carried out on their shield. That's their mentality. And they're supposed to think like that. But as a coach, as someone who is supposed to not just coach you, but look out for your best interest. Because I need my fighter to fight another day. That's like a tank. If a tank is having issues, I'm going to call in a mechanic to get that tank right, rather than me keep pushing it out on the battlefield and possibly breaking down in the middle of battle. I need to be at my best. I need my machine to be at its best self in order to perform, to go back on the battlefield for the second fight and perform at the highest level. But if we are taking too much damage where we cannot go back into battle, then it's a moot point.
Where you coming from, Deacon, but I always look at this fight too and use it not as a ruler, but just as an example. I know it wouldn't be anybody that was going to call Adrian Broner and tell him or Stoller Tower in when he was in there with Marcus Madonna, knowing that he didn't train the way he should have, and the punishment he was taking early on, no one was gonna stand up and throw that towel over the top rope. Nobody, because Adrian told him probably the same thing Deontay Wilder said. No one was gonna throw that. They was gonna let Broner go out if Broner went out. Seriously, I don't think none of his team members would have threw that towel in.
I get it. That's the mindset of a fighter. And you could go to the Bradley Provolknikov fight and say the same thing.
Hell yeah.
Correct. Timothy Bradley said he was knocked out on his feet when he was still swinging.
Correct. And he said he had slurred speech like 2 weeks after the fight.
He said he was fucked up for a year after.
Yeah, he was fucked up, but he's saying he had slurred speech 2 weeks after the fight.
And
That don't mean,
concussed.
yeah, concussed, man. It was a tough fight, dog.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Reggie.
no, I was gonna say the difference between those fights and the Wilder fight is that those guys still have skin in the game. Bradley being a champion, still remaining competitive, even being out on his feet, still fighting back. The same thing with Broner. Broner started battling back in that fight. The thing with Wilder, he had nothing. Everything was gone from Wilder. He came in there weak, looked weak on his feet.
Right.
The ear bleeding. He was damaged goods in there against a 300-pound dude. The thing with those other fighters is their opponents are relatively within the same weight as them. Wilder's being outweighed by this dude by like 50, 60 pounds. That's the difference in this fight.
So tell me this, Reggie, your honest opinion, right? Okay, you know, we're talking about boxing in general, not just U.S. fighters, right? So is there some type of concern that a fighter ends the fight on their feet, still confident enough to swing? Because, you know, Deontay Wilder did land a punch before the referee, Kenny Bayless, stopped the fight. Now, what's your assessment? Do you believe that Dillian White, the way he was knocked out cold, and Deontay Wilder wasn't knocked out cold like this, but Tyson Fury was, and that's probably the reason why they team did not take the immediate rematch. But for Dillian White to get knocked out the way he was, 2 rounds less than what Deontay Wilder was called out, do you believe he's ready to return to the ring November? Do you think a swift knockout is better than taking a beating?
Hell no, but I think the beating is worse than a quick knockout. But Dylan White's thing, that was a knockout that needs to be evaluated. I don't see how he's able to return back to a fight. What I hear, don't you go on like 180-day suspension for being knocked out? So I don't know what the rules is being bent out there in the UK, or if there is a rule on a fighter being knocked out. But I think from what I remember seeing in some medical ish I watched before is that sometimes the body will go into kind of a mode of where it protects itself after a person is, body is shut down like that. But I still think it's a bad knockout because that knockout could have had some effects on him neurologically. I know that knockout probably took something out of Dillian White, but being beat on has all those effects, even worse. It has many lasting effects to sit up there and just take a beating. Even in the fights that we seen fighters die in, wasn't from just a one-punch knockout. It was over the accumulation of being beat on. And especially being hit to the body. You getting hit to the head and to the body, that's damaging as hell.
I get you, man. Good point. I just wanted to, kind of touch bases because I know when Anthony Joshua was stopped, no one really was speaking about his health. They might have thought that Andy Ruiz wasn't punishing him as much, but yet he was still all over the canvas. But, yeah, I look at the fight over and over again. I just play it. I just think, my mentality is a little bit distorted on, I guess, how my competitive, what I've seen, was it that worse? Was it that severe? And then I look at a fighter that was concussed like Dillian White, and I'm saying to myself, like, how can you come back in 3 months? That could end up having him as a vegetable because he's trying to return to the sport too quick. Just like Israel Vasquez, all them battles he had, and he wasn't even totally cleared when his eyes was messed up. And then, he wanted to return to the sport and take punishment. And what happened? After he retired from the sport, he lost the eye. So, the sacrifice, this my whole word, that S word, that sacrifice, man. This is your livelihood. And a lot of fighters have to make sacrifices if they're not 100%.
Right.
They have to make sacrifices, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I just see this guy as innately gifted, Deontay Wilder, for the structure and his body composition to go over there and with 42 victories, 41 knockouts. And it was just amazing to watch. So when he was taking that punishment from Fury, I just felt that the warrior spirit and what God blessed him with would get him through it. That's all, because you don't have a body composition like that and get to where he's been able to achieve, and then just so happen your power goes away, like people saying. And no, he just wasn't 100% that night, but he did take punishment though.
So why should we want him to continue in a fight where we know he's not 100%? That's one thing. Number two, think about this, World. You remember, and then sometimes your opponent has more compassion for you than your corner, than the referee, than the damn doctor. Remember when Antonio Tarver was fighting what the kid name when he was calling for the ref to stop the fight? He said, "What you want this man to die in the ring?"
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name.
I'm looking right at his face. I just can't call his name. I see his face in my head. But you remember the fight?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember the fight. Yeah.
Where Tarver is begging the referee to come in and stop the fight and say, "What you want this man to die?" See, some compassion has to come from somewhere. Because it's a competition, but people don't want people to actually die in that ring, man. Or because of it.
But that's what he told his team, though. I get where you coming from, but listen, I might be a bit more hardened just over the years and what I seen. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I look at, because I done seen people take extreme amount of punishment, especially going to them fights over in TJ, going to fights over in there Philippines back in the day. Sitting there watching Muay Thai matches in Thailand, man. I done seen some crazy shit that I'm talking about. Damn, human beings are just unbelievable creatures, man, when you combine heart and a strong mind to it. But I just look at it like this, man. When we go into deployment, we have to make sure all our arrangements is good to go. Because when we go out into the combat zone, it doesn't necessarily say we coming back. And when you get over there, you have that mentality. Go over there, and when it's your time to go on convoy or whatever, you go out on convoy. You don't think about, how can I get out of it? How can I, go find a strip club out here in the desert and hide in the dressing room with the females? You know what I'm saying?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
You got to be there for a head count. Weapons and everything else, payload with you, and you got to go bounce, man. But like I said, I just thought, I believe Wilder is a gifted warrior. In my opinion, he's tougher than what people think. And in hindsight, like you said, like both of you said, yes, I look at it and say, damn, the fight was stopped good, because all the knots on his head, all the damage he took. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it could have been bad.
And what I think going on with you, World, you locked into the military and comparing that, even though you done did both, but you locked into that military thought and experience, but you can't compare that to the boxing ring. Not wholeheartedly, you can't.
Man, I'm talking about combat sports.
That's why
overseas
I say,
too.
You don't experience. That's why I say. I know you said you've experienced both, but what I'm saying is, I hear most of your analogies is that the military experience. But that's what I'm saying. These are two different arenas.
No, man, most of it's not military experience, man. I'm just saying, like, combining them together. Like I said, going to the Philippines and all these places and seeing how these kids at a young age are put through it, seeing the boxing matches. You know,
I
I was
get
over at
it.
TJ over 17, 18 years old, bro. Like, I seen some really tough. So I'm saying in general, like, training aspect, I don't know, man. You know, when you're training over there, the Japanese and everything, they are humans just like we are. But I've seen them go through some strenuous exercise. I've seen, you know, military training go through some strenuous exercise and take some extensive amount of punishment. And it's not fair play either. This shit is.
Well, do you think that the kids these days can fight 15 fights a year? Or do you think that'll kill them? You think that's too much?
I mean, the kids these days fighting 15 fights a year. If they were 6 rounders, 8 rounders.
No. 10, 15 rounds.
No,
Heck, no.
we can't say 15. You know what I'm saying? We
I
can't
say 10, 15 rounds. 12,
Okay.
15 rounds. 12 or 15 rounds. I'm asking you a question.
No, they ain't cut like that, man.
But they did it back in the days, though.
They did.
So what I'm saying is, here's some different situations, different times, and different arenas, man. It's just different shit going on. We got more technology. And listen, the way the kids prepare for fights these days, it's unheard of for back in the days. I think back in the way they got ready for fights back then was much better than it is now. It's more pampered now. You got all this stuff where they can sit in big ice tanks and all kind of crazy shit. You know what I mean?
You got crowd therapy. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They don't really run no more. They get on the treadmill. It's just different.
I get where you coming from, man, but they're just, you know, some of these fighters are cut different. You definitely have to know who your fighter, know your fighter thoroughly and know how much punishment they can take. Just like for Austin Dulé, for instance, when I was over there at that fight in Nashville, word was going around that his pops had stopped the fight before. So I'm speaking Diego Magdaleno. I know he's a dog, and I'm talking to him since the last time I seen him over there at Teofimo Lopez. His loss to Teofimo Lopez. So we're up here bushing around the hallway, and I'm just giving my prediction on, who's going to win between Austin Dulé and Diego. And I'm telling Diego, I say, I think you're too much dog for Austin. I do. And they end up showing up that way. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the fighters. Some of these fighters, they're not cut to hit that different gear. They're not cut to hit that level of darkness that they need to be into to survive and get through it. And I hear what y'all saying though. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't see some of these fighters fighting 15 rounds. Hell no. There's no way.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. They don't have enough. The struggle ain't the same. I think if they went through those struggles that those cats went back through in the day, they'll probably be forced to do it as tough as those guys. But due to some of the privileges that's given to people, even poverty today seems wealthy compared to what those cats back in the 40s and stuff went through.
But see, all
Hello, I can't hear nothing at all.
No one's talking.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, run it, Rizzo.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. What I was saying is that with the 15 rounders, they canceled that out because they felt that from after the 12th round, I believe, around the 13th, 14th, that's when the most damage supposedly was happening with the guys. But then again, they turn around and talk about these brain injuries and everything has to do with cutting weight and the lack of water that the brain has access to.
I thought I remember something different. You tell me if I'm wrong. I remember Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler. They said because Sugar Ray was moving up, and what he wanted to do, he was the Canelo back then. Want everything to fit his narrative so it can favor him. So instead of going 15 rounds, he said, well, for this fight right here, just for this one fight, we'll do it a 12-rounder. And what they did was they agreed to that. And they never went back to the 15 rounds. That's just what I remember. I may be wrong.
Well, from my understanding, they was in the process of. You're talking about when he came back from '84 and then he fought Marvin Hagler in '87, coming off that eye injury.
Right. When
Yeah.
When
They was. I think they was in. I think they was in the process of doing away with the 15 rounders.
Could have been.
Anyway.
But I just remember that fight being the coup de grace. Coup de grace for the 15 rounds for me. That's what I remember that. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's
It would have been smart there, Deacon, for Sugar Ray coming up, moving up a weight class to fight the best in the class. I mean, that's smart of him to take less rounds.
Yeah.
And it did something because Marvin came out fighting a different fight than we used to seeing him fight. So he must have had something on his mind.
I still thought that Marvin had it pissed me off, but I really thought he won that fight because Sugar Ray they called it right though. At the end of every round, when it got close to like those 30-something seconds or close to 30 seconds, he'll go first. He'll do that bowling ball stuff, showing. He's doing a lot of showing out antics. You know what I'm saying? And he'll go in and he'll do that. He'll do that shine. Right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it made it look good. And he was stealing rounds like that. But if you watch all before that, Marvin Hagler was stalking him, hitting him with hard body shots. I mean, he was putting in that work. You know what I'm saying? That's why at the end of the fight, Marvin Hagler just knew he won the fight. He didn't fight. That was his last fight. Not because he couldn't fight no more, because he was so pissed off that they robbed him. And they moved to England.
Shout out to everything in boxing and sports. Salute to you, my brother. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, man. Deacon say he moved to England. Hey, man, I don't blame that man for moving away. Shit, he moved over there with his silk pajamas, didn't he?
Yeah.
He said it's hard to get up and train when you sleep in his silk pajamas or silk sheets. One of them. I ain't mad at him, man.
Right.
Let me see. Sir Ken said that fight was just prior to the round changes were finalized. Okay, good stuff, man.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's good. I respect what both of y'all saying about that. Seeing the mixed martial arts and different combat sports up close. I don't my mentality is different from just seeing them and knowing what the pain threshold could be if you have certain people teaching you certain things. That's all. I mean, I do have a different look on it just from my own personal experience. Some might call it, that's a little bit barbaric, but it's a lot of shit that in my time with especially with martial arts overseas, they push you to different limits. Like it would be considered abuse over here. It would be considered abuse over here.
I seen some videos of some of that stuff.
Yeah, they don't play overseas, man. They have a whole different culture. If I just wish I could have just stayed over there and just took it up. But I was in the military, I had to deploy and all that. Just took it up continuously under the same professor. It would have been great. And, just stayed over there in Thailand and Korea, being able to go from neighbor to neighbor and learn some shit. But yeah, it's inhumane in some of the shit that they do over there in their schools. Real talk. I mean, they still have some old school methods, from punching, from doing pale drills with stones in it, until your hands are just bleeding, and then They scab up and you come over there, they not even fully healed yet, going back in there doing it again. They just teach you things to push past the pain, man. But I look forward to this fight, though. I look forward to him getting back in there seriously and getting that belt back. You know, I really hope he go in there and make it look easy too. But it is, it is what it is, man. What do y'all think about Gervonta Davis changing it to the 31st? Is it a good move for them to get a live gate right now?
Now, man, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know because thinking about it, I don't know how much money they're gonna make off of a gate moving it back. At first, I was like, it was a good move. Thinking about crowds being able to come back, it just depends upon how many people they're allowing. Because even though they're allowing attendance, some states are allowing no more than 200, 1,000, and that's kind of the cap. So I don't know how much they're gonna draw in revenue. Maybe it's something to have. Their close friends in attendance, fans in attendance. Maybe that helps them. It also gives Tank an additional week to try to cut weight as well. So, and also move them out of the way where they're not competing against another UFC event, which is another big event for the UFC. So it makes sense to move it back and also see if they can get some added revenue and as well as Tank additional weight to cut weight if needed.
You have anything, Deacon, on that? Do you think it's going to be beneficial to Gervonta, to open up to fight in San Antonio, Texas, which is the backyard of Leo Santa Cruz and Mario Barrios? You know what I'm saying? They going over there doing that Floyd Mayweather, making sure they get that Mexican money. So, what you think about that, man?
Yeah, I think that they was looking at this monetarily. And also, I'm looking at Tank. This is the best body I've seen on Tank, and he's up under the tutelage right now of Floyd. Man, this is going to be a recipe for some great success in many ways than one. For one, it's going to benefit Tank mentally because he's going to say after this, man, I like this. Because he's gonna think about prior camps, prior fights, and it's gonna dawn on him, damn, I should have been doing it like this. And Floyd gonna say, man, this is what I've been trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to me, you're gonna be everything that you're supposed to be. But if I let you run rampant at home like you want to do, see, because at the end of the day, you're grown, you make your own decisions. But I'm just trying to push you into greatness. And if you listen to me, it's going to be more of this. That's what this is the setup and the scenario that I see that's being played here. And I think Tank is going to benefit the most because he gets to see what Floyd has been trying to tell him.
I hope he does, man. I hope he's receptive to that. The one situation is, people always assume that Tank is going to be problematic. He's just going to be more smart. Even though Floyd has the career that he's been able to accomplish, man, and it is respected in the highest regard when it comes to boxing, I think he needs to establish like a level of mentorship for these guys. I don't think they look at Floyd as one of these mentors, these OGs that they can turn to and get advice from outside of money, because we already know about the investments and everything else. But it just seems like, so many of these fighters are not looking for him for guidance enough to stay out of trouble. That's just what it seems to me. I just wish they would, Tank, before he go out here and makes decisions, just get with somebody that he loves. I know he get with Adrian Broner, but it would be good to see him out here, taking advice from somebody that's, to really focus on his career and be a superstar, a mega star. You know what I'm saying? And get it done the right way. So we'll see what's popping, man. We'll see what's good with that.
Absolutely.
I had one more question, man. Then I'm out. It totally slipped my mind too, man. Let me try to get this question. Okay. Y'all heard what Floyd Mayweather said about. I want to get both of y'all opinion, man, and I appreciate y'all for stopping through on the panel as always, man. I definitely be tuned in, especially to Reggie Owens. Speaking on miscellaneous topics. I definitely want to get your opinion on what Floyd said about, the top dogs. If you had to give your top five, is Floyd in your top five? Because he gives his reason for not for Muhammad Ali not being better than him. He talks about Leon Spinks having only 7 fights and everything like that, and then he'll turn around and say he fought more champions than Sugar Ray Robinson. He'll put that out there, even though there's more belts to be had up here in this era. It's belts everywhere. It's a surplus of belts floating around. So of course you're gonna have more champions.
Right.
But what do y'all think about that as far as him, talking about the Muhammad Ali's, Sugar Ray Robinsons, better than Roy Jones Jr. He has the right to say what he say because it's a competitive sport and he's one of the best to do it. But do you have him in your top five?
What I think, first of all, that he was highly disrespectful when it came to Muhammad Ali. I did not like that. Now, as a champion, he has the right to feel a certain way, but he needs to be, to me, it seems to me that people hasn't really, and it's not people's fault. It's up to him as a man to educate himself about the history of our people and the sacrifices of our people. And you don't go and demean our people, especially the ones that did more than you. You might, when it comes to your tax bracket, yeah, you the man. You the man. Okay? But what are you willing to lose? What are you willing to give up? Not for the sacrifice of Floyd, but for the betterment of your people. What are you willing to give up? See, the word teaches us that it is easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Why is that statement is very important? Because it was for a rich man that had everything. What are you willing to give up? See, this rich man had to give it all up. Are you willing to give it up for the betterment of your people? Or you want to sit on the throne of money and look down on your people? Look at and through your people instead of lifting your people up. Not on the mountain of your money, but on the mountain of your thought process that will help.
What about you, Reggie?
Yeah, with Floyd, I have him in my top 5, no doubt about that. But the thing I hate with Floyd is his jealousy, man. His jealousy of other people that are mentioned when speaking of greatness, along with his name being put in there. And even speaking of those names, those are names also that people will put above him. And he's always vying for that number 1 spot. The first time I ever really heard someone speak on the greatness of Floyd Mayweather, and it's odd to see that he ain't got him in a list now, it was a few years, it was some many years ago. I seen the documentary with, I think Floyd Mayweather was on there, James Toney. Those are ones that stood out because they're some of my favorite fighters. And they spoke on who was the greatest fighter of all time, and they spoke on Sugar Ray Robinson. And so it's odd to hear him not put Sugar Ray Robinson within that list. And also Ali not being on there. When anyone speaks of the greatest boxers of all time, those are the 2 names who will overshadow Floyd Mayweather. But top 5, yeah, he's definitely my top 5. Him, Lennox Lewis, James Toney, Tyson, and really I just go off the names that I view during my era. But I know there's others who are greater. But he just has to accept that, man. He comes off with a lot of this kind of cornballish type shit to refuse to give credit where credit is due. And I mean, I understand who Floyd is, and I take it with a grain of salt. And I hate to compare greats amongst each other. Greats are greats. It's hard to want to rank them. I just rank them on who's my favorite. But that's all I got on that one.
I appreciate that solid point, both of y'all, man. I was gonna ask you, Reggie. You don't take away or it doesn't diminish that the fact that he fought an 0-0 MMA fighter and addition him to his boxing ledger, as great as he is. You don't look at that as just saying, you know what, you feeling yourself a little bit too much. You basically saying, deal with it. He talks about Muhammad Ali fighting Leon Spinks, who has 7 wins. But yet Muhammad Ali was able to get the belt back. That was at the end of his career. But yet he fight Conor McGregor with 0-0. He doesn't even have any professional wins to his ledger, man. Well, it's a lot of contradicting going on here. And basically what I mentioned earlier about Floyd, it would have been great to see him have Mayweather boxing globally. He talks about investments and he has the cars and everything. But what the UFC is doing is just building up facilities all around. So that's all people look at. UFC at this conglomerate, like this mega freaking mixed martial artist, kingdom. I just wish Floyd, with all that money, he would have just limited his lifestyle just a bit and open up some more gyms globally that people can attend with his brand.
Great points, man.
But I appreciate y'all for stopping through Real Talk. Salute, man. It's been very knowledgeable and educational for me to hear y'all come over here and talk about the talking points that y'all was able to discuss. And unfortunately, it don't happen all the time. But like I said, I soak it up when I can get it. You know what I'm saying? I soak this shit up when I can get it.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Especially on a Sunday too. So it's all good, man. So hopefully y'all have a awesome week. You know what I'm saying? Stay COVID free. And I look forward to doing it again sometime, man. Talking this boxing. Y'all continue to be knowledgeable brothers in the community and doing what you do. I appreciate what y'all been able to contribute here on social media. Especially, like I said before, man, I do tune in. I catch you, Deacon, on several sites. You know what I'm saying? It seems like everywhere I'm at, man. Everywhere I turn into, you on the panel or something, man. That's good shit, though. That's good shit. Yeah. And definitely, Reggie, I tune in to his, even when he's not talking about boxing, because, it's informative and productive to learning, future and current events, man. It's productive. So I appreciate y'all, brothers, stopping through, man. That's all I got for the night.
Hey, appreciate you, World Combat.
Appreciate you guys too.
Appreciate you, Reggie.
For sure.
Like World, I'm always following Reggie, man. Reggie be dropping some good shit, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Everything boxing and sports, man. Salute to you for stopping through, Sir Ken and all y'all, man. That's all I got.
My man, I fucks with you too, bro.
Yeah, Keon, man. Salute to him.
Yes, sir.
Till next time, man. Y'all turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Salute.